Did I not tell you to prepare breakfast before everyone is awake? Grace Johnson asked, glancing at Arya, who was engrossed in washing the dirty dishes. Arya attempted to ignore Grace, but the latter seized her by the hair, eliciting a groan of pain. How dare you, you piece of trash, try to ignore me? She tightened her grip on Arya's hair, causing tears to well up in her eyes from the pain. When I am talking to you, you should look at me and respond with respect, you cursed slut. Arya closed her eyes, attempting to conceal the pain caused by her stepmother. I already made breakfast and— No, you did not. You call bread and scrambled eggs breakfast? Grace scoffed. Are you trying to make me gain weight? She shouted, pulling Arya's hair even harder. Arya gritted her teeth, her knuckles clenched in pain. But you have had the same breakfast numerous times and— Grace smirked, a malevolent glint in her eyes. You think your feeble attempts at breakfast impress me? You're worthless, Arya. Your own mother died because of you. You're lucky I took you in, even if you're nothing more than a burden. Now, make yourself useful and do something right for once. Grace let go of her hair. Arya patted her disheveled hair and sighed. I will prepare another breakfast, she said. It was the only way to stop her stepmother from getting mad. Grace smirked. Whatever. After you prepare the breakfast, mop the floor again, clean the windows, and uproot all the weeds in the garden. Is that clear? Arya nodded. Grace gave her a scornful look and left. Arya heaved a deep sigh. Her life was nothing but a series of chores and constant scrutiny. Arya, 24 years with brunette hair and piercing blue eyes. She was just the eldest daughter in the Johnson family, the one nobody favored. Totally opposite to her stepsister, who was her dad's favorite. In the mansion, Arya had it rough. Her stepmom and stepsister always treated her like trash, finding joy in making her feel small. Her dad, who never really cared, only married her mom because she was pregnant. He didn't like Arya at all. After her mom died, he didn't bother being a dad, even brought a mistress home, making things worse for Arya. Her life was just plain tough. Hey, bitch! An annoying voice interrupted her thoughts. She frowned when she realized who it was. She slowly turned to face her stepsister, Isabella. Isabella had long, blonde hair and striking hazel eyes that seemed to pierce through the air. Isabella. Isabella raised a brow and crossed her arms in front of her chest as she stopped in front of Arya. Have you washed and ironed the dress I will be putting on to the party tonight? Wash. Your mother gave me a lot of chores, so I didn't. Your mother? Isabella scoffed. Now you are referring to her as only my mother. Don't be an ungrateful bitch, Arya. Mother took you in, ignoring the fact you're a bastard. A bastard? Really? Arya thought. Well, it is not the first time they are insulting her with that word, and even worse words. Arya took a deep breath and exhaled gently to calm herself. I am sorry, Isabella. I didn't have the time to wash the dress because of— Another excuse, really? You are just as useless as your mother, Isabella cut in angrily. All right, I will wash the dress after I am done. Isabella's eyes widened and glared at her. What? You will make me wait. I want you to stop whatever stupid thing you are doing and go wash my fucking dress. I am sorry. I will do as you say. Arya slightly bowed, but what she didn't expect was that Isabella would smack her head. Arya clenched her fist and didn't dare to look up. She stared at the floor. You must think this will all be over when Ryan marries you, but that's a lie, Arya. A man like Ryan will never marry a woman like you. You are destined to live and die as my servant. Isabella's expression turned scornful. A tear fell from Arya's right eye as she tried not to dwell much on Isabella's words and just waited until she left. When she heard the faint sound of Isabella's heels clicking on the floor, she lifted her head, knowing Isabella had left. After Isabella's departure, Arya took a moment to compose herself, wiping away the solitary tear that escaped her eye. The echoes of Isabella's harsh words lingered in the air, but Arya knew better than to let them consume her. The Johnsons are rich. They have many maids. But even with the number of maids in the mansion, Arya was still the one assigned to do most of the chores by her stepmother and stepsister. I will not let their words get to me. Instead, I will think of my life with Ryan after we get married, Arya said to herself, smiling. Making sure to finish all her work, Arya tried her best to forget every negative word Grace and Isabella had said to her this morning. She washed Isabella's dress, and after 30 minutes she went to re-mop the floor and uproot the weeds in the garden. After a couple of hours, when Arya was done, she went back into the mansion and glanced at the clock near the grand staircase. She sighed and went to the kitchen. She was glad to see a maid in the kitchen, thinking the maid was going to be the one to prepare dinner because, as it is, she was feeling kind of weak. "Are you the one assigned to prepare dinner today?" Arya asked. The maid rolled her eyes with a disdainful and condescending expression. "What do you mean?" Arya raised a brow but remained quiet. It was a normal thing for no maid in the house to have even a pinch of respect for her. They all treated her like Grace and Isabella. "Never mind," Arya said, disappointment evident in her expression. "Madam Grace said I should tell you that when you're done preparing dinner, you should go wash the toilets." The maid sneered, rolling her eyes, showing no respect for Arya. Arya sighed with a mixture of frustration and resignation as the maid left the kitchen. Her eyes carried a hint of sadness, silently bearing the weight of the unfair treatment she endured. Arya threw herself on her bed and smiled widely as she stared at the ceiling. She had gone through another day of hardship, insults, and humiliations successfully. Well, what's new? She would do her best to endure everything, till Ryan proposes. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she raised her arms to look at the scratches and bruises that came from Isabella. She could also feel the pain on her skull from this morning's brutality by her stepmother Grace. None of this was new to her. They always found a mistake in anything she did just to inflict pain on her. It seemed they derive joy any time they see her in pain. But that was not her concern at the moment. Ryan called last night and informed her that he was coming back tomorrow night from his business trip. Yes, her fiancé would be back, and she was happy, very happy. She heaved a deep sigh and wiped her tears away. I am going to surprise him. She smiled to herself. Arya knows Ryan would go to his penthouse immediately when he arrives from Florida tomorrow night, so she wanted to prepare his favorite meal before he gets home. What am I going to get for him as a gift for our 3rd-year anniversary together as a couple, she thought. A harsh knock came on her door, making her frown. Who is that? She asked. I hope you haven't forgotten that you are to wash the toilets before retiring to your room for today. The rude maid's voice came from behind the door. Arya frowned. I am sorry, Rose, I forgot. Whatever, you're so pathetic. You better get to work. Rose scoffed and walked away. So believable. I cleaned the house until the evening, after the pain inflicted on me this morning, yet I am not supposed to get proper rest. She gave a sad laugh as she stepped out of her room. Her 24 years of life have been lived as nothing but a slave by her. She didn't go to one of the best schools like Isabella, but she sure didn't let that stop her from studying hard. While Isabella could work in their father's company as a manager, she couldn't. Instead, she was working as a waitress in a restaurant. Even with that, Isabella made the owner of the restaurant sack her, who surprisingly was Isabella's friend in high school. What exactly has she done to both mother and daughter? Why can't she be happy? Well, she has been happy, only when she was with Ryan. Ryan's father was her father's chauffeur before he died, and Arya has always had a huge crush on him since childhood. They started dating 3 years ago. Arya's dream came true on that day Ryan had confessed his feelings for her. He has been nothing but her happiness. The only thing her stepmother and father didn't deny her was Ryan. And guess why they didn't? Because Ryan was her father's driver, and they considered him as a man with no future, a servant's son, so which makes him compatible with her. Grace was so happy when Arya began dating Ryan. She had said to her that day, you both deserve each other. Maybe when you get married and give birth, then your children can continue the slavery from where the two of you stopped. Arya gave a sad smile, remembering the statement, as she walked into the guest's toilet. But Grace was wrong. Arya did all she could to support Ryan in his studies. Arya loves Ryan a lot. He makes her happy, and she feels special when she's with him. But they haven't been able to spend much time together, even if they have been dating for 3 years. Ryan works a lot, and Arya has to do many chores at home. Despite this, she cherishes the moments they have, and she's excited about his return from the business trip. She wants to make their time together special. Although she was tired from today's chores, she still reluctantly entered the guest's toilet with a bucket of cleaning supplies in hand. The dim light accentuated the wear and tear on the bathroom's outdated fixtures. With a heavy sigh, she began scrubbing the surfaces, trying to focus on the task at hand. As she worked, the sound of approaching footsteps echoed in the hallway. The door swung open and Rose, the rude maid, entered with a sly grin on her face. Arya's eyes met Rose's, and she could feel the weight of judgment in the air. Rose leaned against the doorway, watching Arya scrub the toilet with an air of superiority. The smirk on her face grew more pronounced with each passing second. Arya, used to such behavior, tried to ignore the disdainful gaze. "Look at you, Arya," Rose sneered, her tone dripping with mockery. "You're really embracing your role as the maid, aren't you? This role fits you perfectly, you worthless wench. It's so satisfying to have someone to pick on every single day. Can you imagine even your father couldn't even bear a single glance at you because you stink?" Rose eyed Arya. "I still don't understand why Ryan is still with you. He deserves someone better. A better woman." Arya clenched her jaw, determined not to let Rose's taunts get to her. She continued cleaning, trying to block out the condescending comments. With a final disdainful look, Rose turned and walked away, leaving Arya alone in the guest's toilet. The echoes of her laughter lingered. Arya, left to finish her task, took a deep breath, reminding herself that she was going to let the hurtful words get to her not today or ever. Ryan is coming back and it feels good. With him here, things might get better. I'm hopeful that our time together will bring happiness and make the tough times a bit easier to bear, Arya said to herself. Arya descended the stairs, her slender figure adorned in a long, flowing black skirt that elegantly brushed the floor. The fabric swirled around her with each step, and a fitted blouse in a soft shade of lavender complemented the ensemble. Her brunette hair, neatly styled in loose waves, framed her face, and a delicate silver necklace gleamed against her collarbone. The silver necklace was a gift from Ryan on their 2nd-year anniversary. She made sure she completed the house chores before leaving the house. Arya clutched a modest handbag in her hands, ready to buy groceries for Ryan's favorite meal. However, before she could step out, the harsh voice of her stepmother, Grace, cut through the air, halting her in her tracks. "And where do you think you're going?" Arya turned with a polite smile. "I am going to meet Ryan." Grace crossed her arms, disdain evident on her face. "Ryan? The chauffeur's son?" Arya raised a questioning brow, puzzled by Grace's deliberate choice of words when referring to the man she loved. "Yes, the chauffeur's son," Arya calmly affirmed. Grace smirked with a wicked satisfaction. "You two would actually make a great low-life couple." Arya stayed silent, unfazed by Grace's insults. Her love for Ryan remained unshaken, no matter what Grace said. "Such a man like Ryan is what you deserve, and nothing more. Poverty-stinking fellows." Grace scoffed. "Make sure you don't stay out too long. You'll have a lot of work to do when you get back." "I'll make sure to come back early," Arya said, and left. Grace watched her leave the house with contempt. Arya happily walked out of the grocery store, a gentle smile playing on her lips as she carefully held the bags filled with groceries for Ryan. She felt a rare happiness, a twinkle in her eyes that had been missing during the months Ryan was away on his business trip. The thought of surprising him for their 3rd-year anniversary made her heart swell with joy, and dreams of starting a family together brought an extra shine to her eyes. She hailed a cab, shared the destination with the driver, and soon arrived at Ryan's apartment. Paying the fare, she stepped out of the cab, bags in hand, and made her way to the gate. She was surprised to see Ryan's car parked outside his compound. Puzzled, She raised a brow, wondering why the car was there when he had mentioned returning home at night. Perhaps he hadn't taken his car with him, she thought, and pressed the password. The door opened and she entered. Once she was in, she walked towards the kitchen and dropped the groceries on the counter. She noticed the house was unusually quiet. A strange sound from upstairs caught her attention, making her alert. What was that sound? She wondered. She cautiously stepped out of the kitchen and ascended the stairs. Another sound, more distinct this time, reached her ears. It wasn't her imagination. It seemed to be coming from a woman. Could someone be robbing his house? Quickly she picked the vase on the table near Ryan's room. Her hand hesitated at the doorknob, unsure as she started to hear moans, groans, and the unmistakable sound of flesh clashing. Arya gripped the doorknob tightly, hearing the moans and groans from the room. Ryan! The moans sounded intimate, and Arya's eyes widened. Did she hear it right? Fuck yes! A man's groan followed, and she was almost certain it was Ryan's voice. No, I shouldn't jump to conclusions yet. I should just open the door and see who is making this silly noise, Arya muttered to herself, hands still on the door. Tell me you enjoy what I'm doing to you. The voice that sounded like Ryan's came up again. I.e. enjoy every bit of what you're doing to me. Arya's ears picked up on a detail that heightened her disbelief. The woman's voice sounded strangely like her stepsister, Isabella. I love how you're so wet for me, the voice replied. Don't hold back your moans. I want to hear all of it. I'm all yours. The woman's moan echoed. I love you. The man's voice filled the room. Arya felt her heart being stabbed 1,000,000 times. Her hands trembled on the doorknob, unsure of what she would find and what would happen once she opened the door. She didn't want to jump to conclusions. As she slowly opened the door, the sight before her shattered her. Shock, hurt, confusion, and pain overwhelmed her. The vase in her hands slipped away. Tears streamed down her cheeks like a river. The vase breaking made the two naked people on the bed stop what they were doing. They looked at the sound. Ryan, surprised to see Arya there, quickly got up from the bed. What are you doing here? I thought you were supposed to come tonight. He stumbled over his words. Tears rolled down Arya's eyes. So you lied about coming back tonight? And you... Her eyes went to Isabella. Hush, how could you? Isabella smirked, showing no guilt, enjoying Arya's shocked face. There was silence for a moment. How could you do this to me? Arya stuttered out. Ryan ran a hand through his hair. I didn't expect you to come so soon. He chuckled nervously. Arya scoffed, tears streaming down her face. Well, what do you mean? You don't... Enough already. I'm tired of this. Enough of the tears. Yes, you caught me in bed with your sister, so what? Why are you crying as if I did something wrong? I thought you loved me. Why would you? Arya's voice trailed off in tears. Ryan suddenly felt a hint of guilt. His expression shifted, a mix of guilt and regret evident on his face. I don't love you, Ryan admitted. Arya's expression changed to one of heartbreak, her teary eyes staring at him. What? I am sorry, Ryan said, attempting to offer some form of apology. Why? Why would you date me when you don't love me? Arya questioned, her hand on her chest, eyes pleading for him not to hurt her anymore. Ryan couldn't bring himself to look her in the eyes, remaining silent. With a gulp, Arya finally asked the question that haunted her. So you could be by Isabella's side? Just because of that? Ryan hesitated before responding, choosing his words carefully. Even if he didn't love her, he acknowledged the efforts she had put in for him, and he was grateful. I didn't date you just because of that. Then why? Arya choked on her tears. Why? Why did you date me when you do not love me? Because I pitied you, Ryan confessed, his expression now tinged with pity rather than guilt. I pitied you because you worked hard to gain your father's favor, but he doesn't even notice you. You have no one to rely on in that big mansion, no friends to share your problems with. Even with all your efforts, you are considered a lowlife and a loser. Arya gasped in shock. What? How dare you take pity on me, huh? How dare you make a fool out of me in the name of pitying me? You have no idea what I've been through. Tears streamed down her face, hitting his chest. I'm sorry, Ryan said, holding her hands to stop her from hitting him again. Arya shook her head, not wanting to hear any more words from him. She felt hurt and betrayed. The man she thought was the love of her life turned out to be the person who hurt her the most. This was nothing but betrayal. A deep one. Her eyes met Isabella's, who sat on the bed with the sheets wrapped around her. Isabella, how could you? Arya asked as Isabella suddenly faked an innocent look. Isabella's eyes filled with tears. I am sorry, Arya. I'm sorry. She started to sob, gaining Ryan's attention. Ryan looked at her with hurt and went to hug her, patting her hair lovingly as she cried. It's okay, my love, he said to Isabella with a calm voice. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have fallen in love with my sister's boyfriend. What will people think of me? Isabella sniffed in tears in Ryan's arms as he consoled her. Arya's heart broke. It was as if her heart was being stabbed by a knife 1,000,000 times as she watched the scene before her. Then she realized that Ryan had never shown her the kind of affection he was showing Isabella right now. He never called her his love. He lied to her many times that he liked her, and she had believed him, but it wasn't the same as what he was showing Isabella. None of this is your fault. Do not blame yourself for anything that is happening right now. It's you I want, Ryan said to Isabella. It's her you want? Why did you choose to date me when it's her you want? How long has this been going on between the both of you? Enough, Arya. You can see Isabella is sad. Do not say any word that will make her upset, Ryan told Arya. Why won't you forgive me, Arya? Isabella said, looking up at her as if she was scared. Forgive you? Arya raised a brow, her expression a mix of disbelief and anger. After everything you both did, forgiveness is the last thing on my mind. You're scaring her, Arya, Ryan said. I regret the day I fell in love with you, Ryan, she spat out. The love she had for him suddenly turned to nothing but hatred. Arya, not wanting to endure any more of this, turned and left, angry tears streaming down her cheeks. I'm not going to cry for him. He doesn't deserve my tears, she said to herself. She grabbed her handbag and hurried out of the house, slamming the door behind her. When she got outside, she clutched her chest with her right hand and used the left one to steady herself by holding the wall. I thought he loved me. After everything I've done for him. How could he? How could he cheat on me even with my sister? She said in between sobs. You're going to regret every bit of pain I'm feeling right now, Ryan. I hate you. She wiped her tears with the back of her palm and hailed a cab. She got home a few minutes later. A maid came rushing to her. Your father is back, the maid told her. Arya's swollen eyes from tears widened. Her father was back? What was expected of her? Nothing. She couldn't even be excited at the news of her father's arrival because she wasn't even treated as his child. So why then would she be happy that he was back? She didn't say anything to the maid as she proceeded into the house. She frowned when she looked up to see Rose blocking her way. Why are you coming back by this time? Rose asked. Arya didn't say anything. She just wanted to bury her face in her pillow and cry her eyes out, with the thought of how she was going to live in the same house with Isabella after what she had done. Am I not talking to you? Why are you coming back by this time when you know there is a lot of work to do? You do not expect me to do the cleaning for you, do you? Rose said. Arya raised her head, glaring daggers at Rose. Rose was taken aback for a second by the look on Arya's face. Leave me alone, Arya whispered, and walked past Rose as she climbed the stairs. Rose remained speechless by the stairs. This was actually the first time Arya had given her such a look, and it was kind of scary. What was that look she just gave me? Rose gasped. A few minutes later, Arya didn't come out from her room ever since she came back from Ryan's house. She lay on her bed staring at the ceiling with a blank expression. Her mind continued to go back to the day when she and Ryan had confessed their feelings to one another, and how they had been dating for 3 years, only for him to cheat and tell her that he was with her because he pitied her and wanted to be close to Isabella. How dare he pity her? He had no right, after everything she had done for him and his family. Now he was telling her he pitied her. How could she have thought that something like this would happen today? What if she hadn't gone earlier? Would he have hidden his affair from her? Till when exactly? The dining room exuded an air of opulence and sophistication. A long, polished mahogany table stretched across the room, adorned with exquisite china, crystal glasses, and silverware. Elegant chandeliers hung from above, casting a warm glow on the carefully arranged settings. The walls were adorned with tasteful artwork, reflecting the refined taste of the Johnson family. David Johnson, a man in his 50s, sat at the head of the table, with Grace Johnson to his left and Isabella to his right. "I'm glad you're back home, Dad. I have a lot to talk to you about the company. I've made a lot of progress." "The exhibition turned out to be a success," Isabella said, smiling. David looked at his daughter proudly. "I knew you could do it. You've made me proud." "I'd do anything to make you happy, Dad," Isabella smiled. "I'm proud to have such an excellent daughter like you," David complimented her. Grace smiled. "Isabella has done well. She put in a lot of effort to make sure the exhibition went well." David nodded, going silent for a while. Isabella shared a knowing gaze with her mother. David suddenly cleared his throat. "I have great news, Isabella." Isabella looked at her father with a smile. "And what is the news, Dad?" "Gabriel Harrington asked for one of my daughter's hands in marriage for one of his sons," David said, breaking the news. Grace and Isabella's eyes widened in shock. Gabriel Harrington, one of the wealthiest families in the country? "Dad!" Isabella exclaimed excitedly. "That's great news." Grace smiled at the thought of her daughter getting into the Harrington family. Who wouldn't want their child to get into the Harrington family? They are a prominent family in the country, known for their generational wealth and maintaining a successful business for generations. Yolanda Harrington is the founder of Harrington's Enterprise and the mother of Gabriel Harrington, who is the CEO of Harrington's Enterprise, with 3 sons and a daughter, each with distinctive personalities. Ethan Harrington, the first son, is the president of the company and his father's second favorite. He's known for his handsome and calm features. The second son, Julian Harrington, is Gabriel's favorite and the vice president, known for his charming features and intelligence. Alexander, the third son, faces a lower reputation and lacks a role in the family business due to being born out of wedlock. A mistake Gabriel made the day he went to Italy on a business trip and mistakenly impregnated a waitress in a nightclub. He had no choice but to bring Alexander home since he was his blood. But he regretted the day he brought him home because Alexander brought nothing but shame to him. "Is our daughter marrying Julian Harrington?" Grace asked with a smile. David's face briefly changed, noticed by Grace, who raised a brow. "No, it's not Julian," David replied using a napkin. Grace frowned. "Then who? Ethan? Isn't Ethan married?" Isabella watched her father, anxious. "No, it's not Ethan. It's Alexander," David said, not liking the idea. "What? Why Alexander? Why not Julian?" Grace questioned. "That's what Gabriel wanted, and I agreed. It's a win-win. He gets a wife for his son, and I gain connections if my daughter marries him. Our family will benefit a lot from this marriage," David explained. "That doesn't explain anything, David. My daughter can't get married to that loser. Do you even hear the news about him? For heaven's sake, he is the illegitimate son," Grace exclaimed. Isabella sat there, her knuckles clenched. "Father, I can't marry Alexander." "Why not Julian?" Isabella pleaded. David sighed. "I also don't want you to get married to a boy born out of wedlock, but it's already been decided. Gabriel wants a wife for his son so he wouldn't be disgracing his name while he goes out at night and comes back drunk with different women in his arms." Grace frowned. "Alexander is in a lower class compared to his brothers. and he doesn't even have a position in his father's company. How can my daughter marry such a man? No, my daughter can't marry that boy. Haven't you heard the rumors about him? He is poor, and not to talk about, Grace started, and Isabella completed. How ugly he is. I can't marry him, father, I just can't. I'm too pretty to be given to such a man. Why can't I get married to Julian Harrington? Julian was her dream man, the second son. Grace, trying to think of a solution to avoid her daughter marrying that loser, suddenly had a perfect plan come to her mind, and her lips curved up into a smile. Why not let your first daughter marry him? It's compulsory for business, Grace suggested slyly. Excited at the idea of Arya marrying a poor man, Isabella nodded her head. That's a good idea. I have 2 daughters, don't I? Why didn't I think of this? David also liked the idea. Don't worry, my jewel. I'll make sure you get the man of your choice, he assured Isabella, smiling. A knock came on Arya's door, interrupting her thoughts. Who's there? She asked. Your dad wants you in the dining room, the maid replied. Arya, puzzled, asked, What does that mean? He wants you to have dinner in the dining room, the maid explained. Arya's eyes widened. That was strange. Why would her father want her to have dinner in the dining room? She hesitated, not used to dining with the family, but eventually, she reluctantly made her way to the dining room. As she entered, she saw Isabella, and the wounds in her heart felt raw again. Good evening, father, she greeted. David grunted, avoiding eye contact. You never learn, do you? Can't even greet properly? Isabella chimed in, faking sweetness. Don't mind her, Dad. Maybe she's just tired from her late-night escapades. Arya decided to ignore whatever lies Isabella was saying about her and turned to her stepmother. Good evening, Mother. As she stood, waiting for approval to sit, David finally said, Sit down. Arya sat cautiously, clenching her knuckles, determined not to look at Isabella. Are you okay, Arya? You look pale, Isabella asked, feigning concern. Suppressing her anger, Arya gritted her teeth, fully aware of Isabella's intentions. How could she even ask about my well-being after what she did? The audacity. Are you deaf? Or didn't you just hear your sister ask you a question? It's okay, Dad. She must be sick or something. I'm just worried about her health considering the fact that she normally goes out and comes back late at night, Isabella added, fake concern plastered on her face. I'm okay, Arya mumbled, clutching her skirt tightly. David sneered. You always disappoint, Arya. Can't even sit properly at the table. No manners. Arya, trying to hold back tears, replied, I'm sorry, Father. Arya, dear, how about you try the soup? It might bring some color to your pale face, Grace said with a fake smile. Arya, sensing the hidden insult, forced a smile and replied, Thank you, Mother. I'll try it. Isabella maintained a constant smirk throughout the dinner, enjoying every moment of Arya's discomfort. Arya slowly took a small spook of her soup and drank it, not used to sharing the same table with them. I don't belong here, Arya thought to herself as she stared at her food. David cleared his throat, gaining everyone's attention. I have an announcement to make. Arya, you will be getting married to Alexander Harrington. Arya's eyes widened in shock, the news hitting her like a ton of bricks. What? Married to Alexander? Who is he, and why am I marrying him? Arya thought. David nodded. It's a strategic move for the family. You'll marry into the Harringtons, and we'll benefit from the connections. Arya, struggling to hold back her emotions, managed to ask, But Father, He interrupted. No more arguments. This decision is final. Isabella couldn't hide her satisfaction, a smug look adorning her face. Well, Arya, it seems you're finally getting what you deserve. Marrying that loser Alexander, you'll fit right in. Arya took a deep breath, steadying herself against Isabella's mockery. Ignoring the comment, she turned her attention to her father, awaiting the details of this unexpected and unwelcome arrangement. You'll be getting married in 5 days. Everything will be ready by then, David said with a stern expression. 5 days? Arya's eyes widened. Why so soon? I don't even know him. Arya trailed off. That's none of my business. You're going to marry Alexander Harrington and that's final. Do not even try doing anything stupid, David warned her. Arya nodded her head. You can leave, Grace said. Arya looked at her, stood up, bowed, and left. So that was the reason she was asked to join them for dinner. It was because they had set her up with a man she knows nothing about, and she has no say in this forced marriage. Why has nothing ever happened in her favor? Every time she has happiness, the universe snatches it from her. Arya went back to her room, feeling an overwhelming mix of sadness, anger, and betrayal. The weight of the previous day's events bore heavily on her, leaving her emotionally drained and vulnerable. The following day, Arya was abruptly pulled from her restless sleep by the sound of a loud bang on her door, echoing through the silence of her room. Groggy and disoriented, she blinked her eyes open, her surroundings slowly coming into focus. The room was dimly lit, and the soft glow of the moon peeked through the curtains, casting shadows on the walls. The remnants of a fitful sleep clung to her, and the events of the previous day lingered in her mind like a haunting melody. As the echo of the bang reverberated in her ears, Arya wondered who could be disturbing her peace at such an early hour. The digital clock on her bedside table showed that it was 6 a.m. Summoning the strength to rise from her bed, Arya pulled the covers away. The air in the room felt heavy with the weight of her emotions. With each step towards the door, she wondered if this unexpected disturbance would bring a reprieve or inflict another wound upon her already battered soul. As her hand hesitated over the doorknob, she took a deep breath, gathering whatever composure she could muster. The door creaked open, revealing Isabella standing there. Their eyes met, and a flood of memories from the previous day rushed back to Arya's consciousness. The image of Isabella in the arms of the man Arya once believed was the love of her life played vividly in her mind, a painful scene etched into her memory. What do you want? Arya questioned, her voice reflecting the lingering pain. Isabella chuckled. You sound rude. Oh my, what happened to your face? Have you been crying all night? Arya frowned. What is it you want? No, I don't want anything. I just wanted to see how you look this morning. You must have cried your eyes to sleep. How painful. It's just so sad you didn't listen to my warning, Isabella smiled. I told you a man like Ryan would never love a woman like you. Who would love you, Arya? Nobody. Isabella chuckled. Arya blinked back her tears, then scoffed. Why should you care if nobody loves me? Isabella scoffed. Don't be too sad, okay? Dad already set you up with another loser. Oh my Arya, do you have a thing for losers? Arya, her frown deepening, replied, If you have nothing important to say, leave. Isabella's smile persisted as she continued. Oh, Arya, you're still so naive. It's adorable, really, but let me give you a piece of advice. You should learn to accept your fate. After all, who would want someone with your track record? It's surprising how you mention I'm naive when clearly it's you that is naive. If you aren't, why then will you be with the same loser? Arya retorted. Isabella scoffed. Save your energy, Arya. You're going to need it for your upcoming life as the wife of a man no one else would want. Enjoy your pathetic existence. With that, Isabella turned and walked away, leaving Arya with a bitter taste of insult and despair. Isabella knocked loudly on Ryan's apartment door.
Salamat sa FT Lending. Maaari ko na makuha ang gusto ko kahit saan, kahit kailan. Ang FT Lending ay isang lehitimong platform, certified at regulated ng SEC. May loan limit na hanggang 30,000 pesos at pwede mong bayaran ng paunti-unti sa loob ng hanggang 6 na installment. Ang interest ay kasing baba ng 0.2%. Walang service fees na sinisingil sa buong proseso. Click na agad ang link para i-download at masubukan.
Dressed in a short, sleeveless black gown. In her left hand, she held a small designer bag. She adjusted her black eyeglass as she waited for Ryan to open the door. Ryan opened the door and greeted her with a smile. They exchanged hugs and cheek kisses. "Please come in," Ryan told her, smiling. "Thank you." Isabella smiled as she entered. "I'm sorry about what happened yesterday," Ryan apologized. "It's okay. I shouldn't have confessed my feelings if I knew it would hurt my sister so much," Isabella lied. "You're so kind," Ryan complimented. "Take a seat, please." "Thank you," Isabella said, forcing a smile as she sat down. She looked at him, crossing her legs seductively. "You must have been shocked when I confessed my feelings over the phone," Isabella remarked. "Yes, I was," Ryan admitted. "I feel lucky to have such beauty by my side." Isabella, with a sly smile, stood up and walked towards Ryan, leaning on his chest and wrapping her arms around him. "Ryan, I've always liked you. Even when you were with Arya, I couldn't resist my feelings," Isabella confessed, feigning innocence. Ryan, entranced by her charm, ran his fingers through her hair. "I had no idea, Isabella. If I knew, things might have been different." Isabella's words made Ryan excited. If he had known she had always liked him, he would have gone for her instead of Arya, and he would have been more successful than now. "Well, now that Arya is out of the picture, we can finally be together," Isabella suggested. Ryan, torn between guilt and desire, hesitated before responding. "What happened when you got home yesterday? I hope you two didn't fight." "No, we didn't. Although I tried explaining to her how I felt about you, she was too angry to listen," Isabella mumbled, releasing her arm around his waist to look at him. Although Ryan wasn't her dream man, and she never liked him, she couldn't deny the fact that he was kind of cute. Why hadn't she noticed that sooner? "What are you looking at?" Isabella flushed, understanding the way Ryan was looking at her. "All I see is you right now." "You look so cute," Ryan said. "You too." "You're kind of cute," Isabella replied. Ryan smiled and pulled her closer to him. "So, are you okay?" he asked, still worried about how she was feeling after what happened yesterday, and if they should take things to the next level. Would she want to do that? To him, Isabella was beautiful, kind, and innocent. He wouldn't want to do anything to hurt Arya, so he was scared if she would agree for them to take things to the next level. "About what?" Isabella asked, feigning oblivion. "Well, if we start dating, you know," Ryan said, smiling lovingly. "What?" Isabella asked, smiling nervously. "Our parents will be confused. Arya too. She might get angry if she finds out, and you wouldn't want that," Ryan explained. Isabella forced a smile. "It's not a big deal. Anyway, Arya is getting married in 5 days, so she wouldn't be a—" "What? What do you mean she is getting married?" Ryan cut in, his expression filled with surprise and confusion. Ryan, startled by the unexpected news, questioned Isabella with a furrowed brow. "Getting married? Arya is getting married? To whom?" he asked, his tone reflecting disbelief. Isabella, seizing the opportunity to sow more discord, replied with a sly smile. "Oh, didn't you know? Daddy Dearest arranged a marriage for her with Alexander Harrington. Seems like she's moving on pretty fast." Ryan's eyes widened. "Alexander Harrington? The Harringtons? Why would her father do that?" "Well, it's a win-win situation for him. Connections and all that. And Arya? Well, she gets to marry a loser, as we all know," Isabella said, emphasizing the word loser to further provoke Ryan. Ryan, feeling a sense of guilt and confusion, ran his fingers through his hair. "I had no idea. I mean, I didn't expect things to escalate so quickly." Isabella pretended to be sympathetic. "Oh, Ryan, you must be devastated. But hey, at least you have me now." Ryan looked conflicted, torn between guilt, confusion, and a growing attraction to Isabella. "I need some time to process all this. It's a lot to take in." Isabella moved closer, putting a hand on his shoulder. "Take all the time you need, Ryan. I'm here for you." "What did she say about this marriage? Did she agree to it?" Ryan asked, sounding a bit angry. Isabella noticed the change in Ryan's mood and decided to use it to her advantage. Well, she agreed to it so quickly. I don't understand why she would agree instead of saying no. I wonder what's going on in her mind, Isabella lied, pouting to make it more convincing. Ryan's mind was filled with conflicting feelings. Arya's fast acceptance of the marriage made him feel betrayed and hurt. He couldn't understand why she would agree to marry someone like Alexander Harrington, especially with the rumors about him. Isabella, enjoying the chaos she was causing, kept playing the sympathetic card. Maybe she's just desperate, you know? It's not easy being alone and abandoned. Ryan, giving in to the negative thoughts, muttered, I never expected her to move on so quickly, especially with someone like him. What does she see in him? Isabella, wanting to shift the focus, said, I really don't know. Let's not talk about her anymore. But Ryan couldn't shake off the thoughts about Arya's sudden decision to marry someone she had never met. Is she really that desperate? Yes. Let's not think about her, Ryan replied, his frustration evident. What would you like to eat? Why don't you prepare your favorite for me? Isabella suggested with an innocent smile, trying to win over Ryan's emotions. I will, my love, Ryan said, leaving for the kitchen. As soon as Ryan was out of sight, Isabella's smile faded into a frown. As Ryan left for the kitchen, Isabella's mind raced with conflicting thoughts. She didn't care much for Ryan, but the fact that he got visibly upset about Arya's marriage intrigued her. Could he have feelings for Arya? Why is he so bothered? Isabella pondered, a sly smile playing on her lips. Maybe this could work to my advantage. In a modest cafe tucked away from the bustling city, Alexander sat in a corner of the cafe, sipping a cup of coffee. His rugged looks were emphasized by a black shirt, 3 buttons open, paired with black pants. Dark hair fell slightly over his forehead, and he wore sleek dark shades, concealing the color of his eyes. He leaned back, crossing his legs. As he enjoyed his coffee, a man dressed in a black suit approached. What's the latest news? Alexander asked, not bothering to look up. Your father has arranged a wife for you among the daughters of his associates. He wants you to get married to one of the daughters of David Johnson. He must have decided this for a long time, seeing how fast he wants the wedding to take place. The man informed him. Alexander smirked. Don't you think I already know that, Nathan? Nathan chuckled. My apologies. I should have known you're aware. Are you going to do something about the wedding? Why should I? If my father wants me married, I'll give him what he wants, Alexander replied, glancing up at Nathan. Why do I sense you have something else in mind? Care to share your next plan? Nathan inquired. Alexander leaned back, smirking. I'll handle it. Now who is this woman my father wants me to marry? Her name is Arya Johnson, 24 years old and... Nathan began, awaiting Alexander's next instruction. I need every piece of information you can find, Alexander interrupted, looking at Nathan with a calculating gaze. Family background, personal details, everything. Nathan, accustomed to his boss's ways, nodded. I'll get right on it. But why the sudden interest? You've never cared much about these arrangements before. Let's just say I want to know what I'm dealing with. Surprise me with the details, Alexander said, maintaining his smirk. Nathan left Alexander with his thoughts, and as he continued sipping his coffee, an enigmatic smile played on his lips. Arya was cleaning the floor when her phone rang. She stopped and took it out of her pocket. The caller ID revealed Ryan's mother's name, sparking confusion. Why is she calling me? Doesn't she know her son and I have broken up? Arya wondered aloud, but still answered the call. Arya, how are you, honey? Ryan's mother's enthusiastic voice came through. Tears welled up in Arya's eyes, recalling how kind Ryan's mother had been to her. She wiped her tears, trying to compose herself. Why are you calling, Mother? Arya inquired. Are you okay, my dear? You sound as if you're crying. What happened? Did Ryan do something to you? Ryan's mother expressed concern. Arya smiled and replied, I'm okay. Why do you call, Mother? I just wanted you to visit. It's been long since I've tasted one of your meals. Why don't you come over to the mansion today? Ryan's mother suggested. Feeling uneasy about the invitation, Arya attempted to decline. I'm kind of busy. Are you rejecting my invitation? Ryan's mother sounded disappointed. No, it's not like that. It's just that. Arya started to explain. I will be expecting you. Ryan's mother interrupted and ended the call, not waiting for Arya's response. Sighing, Arya looked at her phone. Why hadn't Ryan informed his mother about their breakup? She couldn't bear to go to that house after everything he had done to her, even though it wasn't his mother's fault. A few minutes later, Arya paid the cab driver the transport fare and came down from the cab. She stood at the mansion, looking at its beauty and grandeur. The thought of how she contributed to all of this for Ryan crossed her mind, making her clench her fists. She supported him by paying his school fees and helping him at work. Despite his poor background, she couldn't believe he was just using her. Feeling like a fool, she tightly held her handbag and walked toward the gate, which opened automatically. Familiar with the house, she didn't need the maids to guide her. Ryan didn't like maids, but his mother insisted on having at least 2. He disliked the idea, given his past hardships. Arya scoffed at the notion of his sufferings and headed towards the garden house, where she expected to find Ryan's mother. But on getting closer to the garden house, she could hear Ryan's mother's voice. What she heard next made her stop in her tracks. I just can't believe how pathetic and foolish she is. She has no idea what she's getting into. Ryan's mother's laughter cut through the air. Why can't she just get it that Ryan doesn't love her? I really prefer Isabella to Arya. I mean, who wouldn't? Isabella is beautiful and sophisticated. She is also nice and her father's favorite. Ava's disdainful snort added to Arya's torment. Shh, don't say that again. Yes, I also prefer Isabella to Arya, but you know Isabella is smarter. We might not benefit from some of the things Arya is doing for us from her, cautioned Ryan's mother. I don't care, Mother. You wouldn't believe I asked Arya to get me the latest Louis Vuitton bag, and she told me she has no money ever since she stopped working. How pathetic. Eva's words felt like a slap to Arya's face. As she gasped, hand covering her mouth in disbelief, she couldn't fathom the depth of deception. The people she thought were kind and genuine were merely using her for their own gain. Tears welled up, blurring her vision as she grappled with the painful truth. Arya is crazy for Ryan. It's just so sad your brother likes Isabella instead of Arya, Ryan's mother remarked callously. I really don't understand why that psychopath has been crazy in love with my brother ever since we were little. What does she see in him? Ava's scoff intensified Arya's anguish. Don't you dare talk about your brother like that. And that psychopath you're talking about helped your brother through college, so we should at least be thanking her for that, Ryan's mother defended. Arya, now aware of the manipulation, felt a mix of heartbreak and anger. The truth about Ryan's true feelings and the scheming nature of his family hit her hard. Ava's dismissive response cut deep. Oh, Mom, please don't tell me you would actually choose Arya and not Isabella for my brother, just because she paid his college fees. She is just a pawn in my brother's game in getting close to her sister. Ryan doesn't like her. She's just forcing herself on him. That makes sense. But Isabella doesn't like your brother. So wouldn't it be good if he settled for... Arya, not wanting to hear any more of their conversation, turned to leave, but her leg hit the flower pot. She winced in pain and let out a sharp gasp, startling Ryan's mother and Ava. Ava stood up to check what made the sound, and she gasped when she saw Arya. Arya. She smiled nervously. How long have you been standing there? Long enough to hear the awful things both of you said about me, Arya said, rubbing her sore leg. Arya? Ryan's mother's eyes widened at the mention of Arya's name, and she stood up to check what was going on. She frowned when she saw it was Arya. What was she doing here? Did she hear their conversation? We are sorry, Eva said, biting her lip. Arya, we didn't mean the things we said, Ryan's mother said, feeling guilty. It was a misunderstanding. Arya gave a sad smile. You made a fool out of me for your own gain, and you're telling me it was a misunderstanding. So I've been living in a lie all this while. Every nice thing you've done and said to me was all fake? Arya scoffed. Well, there is no need to worry anymore. I and Ryan are no longer together. Your wish has come to pass, and you'll have a sophisticated woman as your daughter-in-law. What do you mean? Ryan's mother raised a brow. Arya turned to leave, but Ava grabbed her hand. We really didn't mean anything you heard, Arya. Get your hands off me, Arya said through gritted teeth, tilting her head to give a terrifying look at Ava. Ava gulped and slowly released her hold from Arya's wrist. They both stood and watched Arya walk away with a broken and angry heart. Did you hear what she just said? Ryan's mother said. Yes, I did. Ava rolled her eyes. What do we do now? What will happen to us if she breaks up with Ryan? Ryan's mother voiced her concern. Mother, Ryan doesn't need her anymore. She is the one who needs him. Moreover, Ryan has gotten a job in LH Star. You shouldn't worry about that anymore, Ava reassured her mother, a cold confidence in her tone. Arya stormed out the mansion, angry tears streaming down her cheeks from the hurt and betrayal she felt. The reality of their true feelings about her, the manipulation, and the revelation that they preferred Isabella to her left her with a mix of anger and sorrow. All these years, they never thought of her as the right woman for Ryan. They were just using her. I would make every one of them pay for using me, Arya muttered to herself as she headed towards the exit. She pulled out her phone, hands trembling slightly, and dialed Ryan's number. He picked up after the second ring. Let's meet, Arya demanded, her voice holding a mixture of anger and determination. I really don't have time for your... Ryan began, but Arya cut him off, her resolve unyielding. We need to talk, Ryan. Face to face, she said. I really don't have time for your drama right now, Arya, Ryan responded dismissively. It's not about drama. I know everything, Ryan. I heard the conversation between your mother and sister. You used me, and I won't stand for it. Meet me at the cafeteria near your mansion, and let's settle this once and for all, Arya declared, and ended the call without waiting for his response. Arya walked into the cafeteria close to Ryan's family's mansion, choosing a table near the window. As she sat down, her mind was a whirlwind of emotions, a storm of betrayal and heartbreak. Thoughts of Ryan and his family's deception consumed her, but she maintained a calm expression. A waiter approached her with a friendly smile. Good afternoon, ma'am. What would you like to order? Since it's noon, Arya decided on a refreshing juice. I'll have fruit juice, please. The waiter left and came back with her order. Thank you, Arya said to the waiter. As she waited, the cafe door opened, drawing her attention. Her heart sank at the sight of Ryan opening it for Isabella. Confusion and frustration knotted in her chest. Why was Isabella here? Did she know about the meeting? Was she beside Ryan when she had called? Arya clenched her knuckles as they walked towards her, arms linked together. Arya, Isabella called, her smile carrying a hint of mockery. Did you call to tell us you've forgiven us? Arya remained silent, staring at them with a blank expression. Ryan pulled out a chair for Isabella, and she smiled. Thank you, darling, she said as she took her seat. Ryan smiled and followed suit. Arya, you called, I'm here. What do you want? Ryan asked. Arya, sister, I know it is hard for you to say you've forgiven us. But if you called Ryan here just so he would accept you back, then you'll break my heart, and it would be lowly, Isabella began, attempting to play the victim. Arya, Isabella's right. If you called me here just to beg me to leave Isabella and take you back, then you're wrong because I'm in love with Isabella, and I wouldn't leave her for anything, Ryan interjected, assuming Arya was here to plead with him. Isn't she about to get married? Why did she call me? Ryan thought. Arya blinked, then scoffed. Ryan, you really think I called you here to beg for your fake love back? I have better things to do than to chase after someone who doesn't value what he has. I called you here to settle accounts, the financial kind. You owe me, and I'm here to collect what's rightfully mine. Don't get it twisted. Taken aback, Ryan frowned. What are you talking about? Arya, with a cold face and stern voice, declared, Pay me back what you owe me. Ryan scoffed. What I owe you? I want you to give me back everything you owe me. Tuition? Half the rent? Expenses? Arya insisted. Ryan looked at her with disbelief. What? Arya scoffed. Have you forgotten so soon? Who paid for your college fees? Embarrassed, Ryan blinked for a moment. Have you forgotten? Arya began listing all the things she had done for him. You owe me $4,000. 40,000? You're insane, Arya. Isabella scoffed. Where did she get such an amount of money from? 4,100 and not 40,000, Arya corrected Isabella. When did you become so greedy? Ryan questioned, looking at Arya as if he didn't recognize her anymore. Me? Greedy? You were the one who cheated on me. After all the heartbreak, lies, betrayals you and your family have put me through. I loved you, Ryan. I wanted to support you in everything, but this is how you pay me back, Arya scoffed, her words cool but seething with pain. Ryan scoffed back, showing no guilt or regret. You're so petty, Arya. I owe you nothing. I already paid you back all the money you spent on me by being your boyfriend for 3 years. And moreover, I didn't ask you to do all of those for me. I didn't beg you to pay my fees. You did it of your own will. I owe you nothing. Pain etched across Arya's face, betrayed and hurt. I'm so disappointed in you, sister. You know you can be anything but living your life like this. Isabella's voice dripped with a fake sweetness, aiming to provoke Arya further. Arya's response cut through the tension. Well, Isabella, at least I'm not living my life as a slut. Ryan, angered by Arya's remark, retorted, Watch your mouth, Arya. Isabella deserves respect. Annoyed by the insult, Isabella dipped her hand into her bag and threw bundles of cash at Arya, a haughty gesture meant to flaunt her supposed superiority. The people at the cafe watched this exchange, including a man with dark shades sitting in the corner, showing an unusual interest in the unfolding drama. Maybe this will help you with your financial struggles. Ryan owes you nothing. Isabella taunted. Arya responded with a dry chuckle, then swiftly stood up, catching them off guard. In a sudden move, she poured the juice she had ordered earlier onto Isabella, who gasped in shock. Arya, feeling a strange sense of satisfaction, said, Maybe that'll wash off some of your illusions. The cafe fell into a brief silence as Isabella stood there, dripping with juice. Ryan, furious, confronted Arya. Why would you do that to her? Maybe she needs a reality check and I'm just helping her out. Arya replied, not backing down, suddenly feeling a strange sense of satisfaction after she poured the juice on Isabella. From his spot in the corner, Alexander observed the unfolding scene with a smirk. No need for someone to spell it out. He had the situation figured out. Looks like things were spiraling out more than expected. Got to learn to mind my own business, he mumbled to himself. Springing to his feet the moment he noticed the guy about to hit the woman, he moved quickly, locking onto Ryan's wrist in a flash. Arya, still startled by Ryan's intentions, tried to dodge only to find the hit never landed. Slowly opening her eyes, she saw strong hands holding Ryan's wrist. For an instant, astonishment played across Arya's face, and she slowly turned her head to look at the man who had grasped Ryan's hand. This looming figure stood beside her. A man with a broad chest, chiseled jaw, rugged looks, and his eyes shielded by dark shades. Caught in his dominating aura, she couldn't help but gasp at the presence that had stopped Ryan from hitting her. Get your hands off me, Ryan demanded. Not until you apologize to this lady for trying to hit her, Alexander declared with a strong and authoritative voice. Arya couldn't help but stare at him. And who the hell are you to tell me what to do? Do you know who I am? Ryan snapped, attempting to break free from Alexander's grip, but it held firm. Ryan despised appearing weak and resented the strong hold. I'm her friend. I don't give two fucks who you are. I won't watch you hit my woman, Alexander declared, surprising himself with the possessive tone. Arya looked at him, shocked. His woman? She wondered. Isabella, who had been watching what was going on, scoffed. Arya, you didn't tell me you're into male escorts. Isabella knew what she was doing, and she was doing so just to ruin the good image of Arya in Ryan's mind. And who was this man meddling in their conversation? Arya stepped out of the cab, lost in her thoughts as she approached the mansion. How could she not have witnessed such an ugly side of Ryan ever since they've been together? The fact that he could hit a woman surprised and disgusted her. What a moron. Clearly, he didn't see through Isabella's facade of innocence. A scoff escaped Arya as she recalled Isabella's act in front of Ryan. Well, it wasn't her concern. If Isabella was using Ryan, then maybe karma was catching up. Raising a brow, Arya pondered on the man who had intervened earlier. Why did he help her? Lost in thought, she opened the door, only to be met with hurried footsteps. Before she could speak, a loud slap landed on her face, nearly causing her to lose balance. You wretch. How dare you insult and humiliate my daughter outside? How dare you? You're nothing but a shame to the Johnson family. Grace roared in uncontrollable anger. Isabella had evidently rushed home to report everything, painting Arya as the villain. Arya held her cheeks, making a noise from her nose. Grace's look, filled with disdain, was something Arya was used to. You worthless thing. Who do you think you are to dare humiliate and fight for a man with my daughter? Huh, have you forgotten your place? You deserve a good beating, Grace yelled, attempting to hit Arya again. However, Arya caught her hand. How dare. Grace gasped, taken by surprise, attempting to withdraw her hand. Where had Arya gotten this boldness from? How dare she challenge Grace's authority? Arya held her hand, abruptly throwing it aside. She wiped a trace of blood from the corner of her mouth, took a deep breath, and stared motionlessly at Grace, who looked shocked. Behind Grace stood Isabella, vibrating with anger. I'm not your biological daughter, so you have no right to hit me, Arya stated. You bitch! How dare you give me that look and talk back at me? Grace retorted. Rose! She yelled. Rose and two other maids rushed towards them. Drag Arya into the attic and lock her there till she remembers her place in this house. Do not give her food or water till she realizes her mistake, Grace ordered. Rose bowed with a sly smile. Yes, ma'am, she replied. Arya showed no sign of being affected. She was accustomed to this treatment. Without resisting, she didn't argue or prove stubborn as the maids proceeded to hold her hands. Do not touch me. I know my way to the attic, Arya asserted calmly. Why, you? Grace pointed at Arya, visibly angry. What do you think you're doing? Where did you get such boldness from? Do not forget your place, you shameless wench. I never forgot my place, mother, Arya replied. Arya, what has gotten into you? How dare you talk to mother that way? Isabella interjected. I think we should report her to father, mother. No, I'll make her pay for humiliating you and daring to talk back at me my own way. Consider this your last treatment before you get married to that loser, Grace declared. Take her out of my sight, she ordered the maids. Arya remained calm, glaring at the maid who tried to touch her. She walked away, with the maids following her until she reached the attic, where they locked the door behind her. In loud tones, Grace and Isabella exchanged disdainful remarks about Arya, puzzled by her sudden boldness. I don't understand what's gotten into her, Isabella said, casting a confused glance at the locked attic door. Grace, her expression venomous, responded, Even if something has possessed her, it won't change the fact that she's destined to marry a useless and ugly husband. Her words dripped with disdain as she reveled in Arya's apparent downfall. Isabella nodded in agreement, her eyes narrowing in a mix of resentment and satisfaction. She's always been a stain on our family's name, but now she's crossed a line. Marrying Alexander Harrington, the so-called useless one, is her just punishment, Grace added. Isabella chimed in, relishing the opportunity to degrade Arya further. It's laughable, really. Imagine being shackled to a man who's considered the black sheep of the Harringtons. Arya always did have a knack for making the worst choices. She chuckled. Grace nodded in agreement. I've never understood why David insisted on such a union. I'm glad we got to find a solution not to make you marry that man. Poor Arya. She must think getting married to a man like Alexander would change her fate. Isabella smirked, adding, Well, if she thinks marrying Alexander will change her fate, she's even more foolish than we thought. It's the perfect punishment for her arrogance. Arya's lips curled up into a smile, knowing fully well they talked loud enough for her to hear the disdainful words. She wasn't going to let herself listen to any more of it. As Arya looked around the attic, she saw the walls covered in numbers, names, alphabets, and dates written with a child's pencil. It made her give a sad smile, remembering how she used to write on the walls out of boredom whenever Grace ordered the maids to lock her up here. It showed how used to this place she had become. Grace would often lock her up here, blaming her for things Isabella lied about. Isabella, even when they were young, made up stories, and Grace never believed Arya. The marks on the walls silently told the tale of a girl enduring loneliness and false accusations, finding solace in the only way she could, by leaving traces of her presence on those lonely walls. Arya, while asleep, caught the sounds of voices outside the door that stirred her awake. The sounds reached her ears, and she recognized one of them as her father's. "Why would you lock her in the attic?" David's voice thundered. "She committed a crime by humiliating Isabella and talking back at me. You should have seen the way she was rude to me and her sister. She even tried to hit me," Grace responded, weaving in a lie. David, though leaning towards belief, disapproved of locking Arya up. "You should have given her a proper punishment and not this. Have you forgotten her wedding is in a few days? What do we say to the Harrington family when the bride appears hungry and worn out? Even if the third son is deemed useless, he's still a Harrington. Have you considered the repercussions if we fall out of favor with them?" David expressed his concerns. Grace, frustrated, crossed her arms, realizing she might not be able to punish Arya as planned. "But what about what she did to me and Isabella? Would she go unpunished for that?" Grace argued. David sighed, approaching Grace. "Don't be upset. You should grasp the current situation. Won't people condemn us if the bride were to look ragged and gaunt?" Grace scowled. "You're right. I'll release her," she reluctantly conceded. "I want you to take her to the bridal shop tomorrow," David instructed. "Fine, but I won't let her off the hook easily. She needs to learn her place, especially if she's marrying into a family like the Harringtons," Grace retorted. David, sensing Grace's determination, just nodded, hoping this decision would bring some peace, at least temporarily. "I will leave the preparation of the wedding to you," he said, and walked away. Grace scoffed. "I'm sure you must have heard everything your father had said. Don't be too happy yet," she said to Arya, knowing she must be listening. Grace reluctantly opened the door to the attic the next morning, finding Arya already dressed. "We don't have all day. We are heading to the bridal shop to get you a wedding dress. No need to go take your bath. Let's just go," she said. "Father specifically said you're taking me there, which means even if I go take my bath, it wouldn't waste your time," Arya replied, aware that Grace was purposely making things difficult. What? It seems you haven't known your place yet." "The punishment isn't enough, right?" Grace snapped, obviously annoyed by Arya's recent attitude. Arya sighed, heading to her room to take a quick bath and put on a neat outfit. When she emerged, she found a frowning Grace in the living room. As they reached the bridal shop, 2 female employees greeted them. "Good morning, ma'am. We are so glad to have you here. Please come in," one said. Grace ignored their greeting, walking in proudly like a madam. Arya rolled her eyes, anticipating a difficult day ahead. Why exactly would this woman be chosen to help her pick a wedding dress? Today really wouldn't be easy because she knew Grace would make it hell for her. The employees, feeling Grace's unfriendly attitude, exchanged uncomfortable glances but stayed professional. "Ma'am, please come with us to the fitting room," one of the 2 employees attending to them said to Arya. "I need your collection of wedding gowns suitable for someone of her size." Grace emphasized the word size with a smirk, casting a critical glance at Arya. Arya, biting back frustration, followed the employees into the shop. However, Grace couldn't resist showing her distaste and humiliating Arya. Arya wasn't happy. She didn't expect her life to turn out this way. She dreamt of marrying someone she loves, like Ryan. Those dreams fell apart the day she caught Ryan cheating and found out he was just using her. Now, surrounded by wedding dresses, Arya couldn't be joyful. The reality of marrying a stranger felt heavy. The dreams she had with Ryan were destroyed when she found out he wasn't sincere. Amidst all these wedding preparations, Arya's heart was heavy, and the beautiful dresses only reminded her of broken dreams. She wished for the happiness she once imagined, but instead, she was forced into a situation she never wanted. Make sure they're not too extravagant. We don't want her looking like she's trying to be someone she's not, Grace instructed. The employees exchanged uncomfortable glances but proceeded to showcase the dresses to Arya. She looked at the gowns blankly, her expression void of happiness. The beautiful dresses felt out of place for a lady like her. "Are you okay, ma'am?" one of the employees asked. Arya nodded. "I like this one." "It's elegant," she said, but internally she grappled with the fact that her happiness on her wedding day was far from reality. "But not elegant for me. The dress looks nice, but it doesn't make me happy. Every bride is supposed to be happy when picking a wedding dress, but I'm not. I feel stuck in a situation that's far from what I dreamed." Arya thought. "Elegant? For you? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's probably too expensive anyway," Grace scoffed. "Okay, I'll look for a less expensive one," the employee said. The employee brought out another wedding dress, a sweep train A-line V-neck sleeveless tassel applique lace. "How about this one? It's a classic choice." Arya admired the beauty, her hand slowly touching it, envisioning how she would look if she were happy. A tear escaped her eye. "I think it's beautiful." "Beautiful? You don't even know what suits you. This is a waste of time. Can't you see you're trying to be someone you're not?" Grace criticized. Arya clenched her knuckles unconsciously around the dress. "You're ruining the dress. Do you know how much it costs?" The other employee who hadn't spoken yet eyed Arya. "Oh, I'm sorry," Arya said, letting go of the dress. "Just know that if you ruin anything here, it's on you," Grace warned. "If you're not going to be helpful but rather throw disdainful opinions about my choice, then I think it would be best if we just forget about picking a wedding dress for me." I'm sure you know how Father would feel when Arya paused, leaving the statement open. Grace looked up at Arya with contempt and scoffed. Arya was right. She wouldn't dare offend David by going back to the house without buying a dress. Arya gave a small smile, then turned, her eyes catching a particular dress. "Have you seen something you like?" the employee asked. "I prefer that one." "It's simple yet beautiful," Arya said, her eyes lighting up as she looked at the dress. The chosen dress was an exquisite A-line gown adorned with delicate lace appliques, a modest yet timeless design. The other employee scoffed. "It's simple yet expensive. I'm sure you can't afford to buy one." "Emma, watch your words. You don't talk to a customer like that," Kate admonished. "Am I not speaking the truth, Kate? She has been wasting our time not deciding what she wants. We have other customers to attend to, rich customers, by the way," Emma retorted with a dismissive attitude. "Emma, it's not our place to judge customers based on what they can afford. We're here to provide assistance and make every customer feel valued. Let's focus on helping Arya find the perfect dress for her special day," Kate said. "Well, Kate, it's the truth. Look at her, wasting our time when we could be assisting customers who can actually afford our dresses," Emma retorted, annoyed. Grace chimed in, agreeing with Emma's sentiment. "She's right. If you can't make a decision, perhaps you shouldn't be here. I may not be your wealthiest customer, but I deserve the same respect as anyone else. If my choices bother you, feel free to focus on those rich customers. I'm sure they'll appreciate your attitude as much as your dresses," Arya told Emma, calmly. Emma looked at Arya, frowning. "Ma'am, if you'd like, you can try on the dress to see how it fits. We want to ensure you feel comfortable and beautiful on your special day," Kate suggested. Arya agreed with a nod. After a few minutes, she stepped out in the wedding gown, looking perfect, simple, and beautiful. The gown complemented her figure as she stood there, looking elegant. Kate gasped. Wow, you look beautiful, ma'am. The dress is a compliment to your figure. Thank you, Arya replied. Grace casted a haughty glance at Arya in the wedding gown. Even in such a simple dress, Arya still looked beautiful. Well, it seems even the most beautiful dress can only do so much. Maybe if you worked on your figure, it would look better on you, Grace commented, her words laced with disdain. Arya gave her a smile and turned to Kate. I have made my choice. I will take this dress. In Ryan's family mansion, Ryan, Ava, and their mother sat in the dining room discussing his breakup with Arya. We broke up, Ryan confessed. Ryan's mother widened her eyes in shock. Ryan, what did you just say? She asked. Please do not tell me what Arya said is true about you two breaking up. It's true. We broke up, Ryan confirmed. Why? Ryan's mother inquired. It seems you messed up, Ava interjected, scoffing at her brother. Ryan's mother glared at her. Why would your brother mess up? Have you forgotten it is her who needs your brother and not your brother who needs her? His mother expressed high expectations from her son. Then why did she break up with him? Ava raised a brow, then chuckled. Tell me, Ryan, what did you do wrong? Huh? How would you get a position in Johnson Financial Group if you're no longer with her? Ryan's mother insisted. Ryan sighed, recognizing his mother's singular focus on wealth. He really didn't care about securing a position in Arya's father's company since he already had a job at LH Star. Who would choose Johnson Financial Enterprise over LH Star? She found out that I am in love with Isabella, Ryan confessed. He could recall Arya's expression when she discovered the truth about why he was with her. He clenched his knuckles, realizing he too had been deceived by her. He thought she was nice and innocent, but it turned out to be a lie. How? His mother asked anxiously, fearing her son might lose a chance to marry into a wealthy family. She caught me in bed with Isabella. Ryan hesitated before saying. Ryan's mother looked at him in shock for a moment, then exchanged confused glances with Ava. Suddenly, a smile lit up their faces. Really? Eva asked in excitement. Does it mean you are now in a relationship with Isabella? Rebecca, Ryan's mother, looked at her son with happiness. It seemed her son really didn't lose. He actually made it big this time. Rebecca weighed the advantages of her son dating Isabella, the apple of her father's eyes, and also the manager of Johnson Financial Group. Wouldn't it be better to go for the good stuff rather than the bad ones? Son, so are you two dating now? Rebecca asked Ryan. Ryan smiled and nodded. Rebecca breathed out a sigh of relief. That's good news. Here I was thinking that you've actually lost such a good opportunity, but it seems you've found an even better one. Ryan sighed. Mother, I'm not with Isabella because of what I'll gain from her or her father's wealth, but because I'm in love with her. Well, Isabella is a sophisticated and pretty lady. It's normal for a man as handsome as you are to be in love with such a lady. It's a win-win for our family, Rebecca said. Eva smiled. What about Arya? She must have cried her eyes out. She chuckled. Ryan's face dropped at the mention of Arya. Then he frowned. She is getting married in a few days. Rebecca and Eva looked at Ryan in shock. What do you mean? Who is she getting married to? Eva asked. Oh, that wench. I knew it. I can't believe she was here playing the victim. Meanwhile, she was the one who cheated first. What a unpleasant person. She even dared to give us that disgusted look. Rebecca snorted. Wait, is she pregnant with another man? Is that the reason she is getting married? No, she is not pregnant for another man, Ryan replied. Then who is the groom? Eva inquired. It's the third son of the Harrington family, Alexander Harrington. She is getting married to him, Ryan said, clenching his knuckles at the mere thought of Arya getting married to him. What? You mean she is getting married to the rumored ugly son of Gabriel Harrington? Eva gasped. Never in her wildest dreams would she have thought that Arya was the most unfortunate woman on earth. How come she is getting married to him? Rebecca frowned. Did she agree to the marriage? If she did, that means she betrayed you too. Rebecca scoffed. Her business has nothing to do with me. She disgusts me, Ryan declared through gritted teeth. Do not get yourself worked up over that woman. It's a good thing you're no longer with her. So tell me, how did you get to charm Isabella? Rebecca said. I didn't charm her. Isabella is not like her sister. She is far better and more honest than Arya. If I had known she had always liked me, I wouldn't have gone into the stress of a relationship with Arya and hurt Isabella's feelings in the process, Ryan explained. It's a good thing Arya is out of the picture now. Let's focus on your relationship with Isabella, Rebecca said, smiling. Now, I can get to call Isabella my sister-in-law, Eva added with a smile. Ryan nodded with a smile, though deep down he still felt angry and troubled. When are you going to invite her over? Rebecca asked eagerly. Ryan rolled his eyes. Come on, Mother. Don't you think you're taking things too fast? We are still getting to know each other, he said. Eva scoffed. Getting to know each other? Taking things too fast, really? That's rich coming from your mouth when you two already had sex. What is still there to take too fast? Eva said, winking at her brother. Ryan gritted his teeth. Rebecca looked at her daughter. Watch your tongue, Eva. Wearing a stylish black t-shirt that hugged his body and highlighted his figure, he paired it with white pants featuring cool white straps. His long legs looked impressive, and he completed the look with a fashionable pair of shoes. Seated on a leather couch in a popular Seattle club, he crossed his legs, looking effortlessly cool. Alexander watched the lively chatter in the club with an expressionless face. Nathan walked towards Alexander and sit beside him. Did you get what I asked you? Alexander inquired. Yes, I did, Nathan replied. I found a lot of interesting things about your bride-to-be. Honestly, I feel for her. Alexander tilted his head, giving Nathan a stern look. Get to the point, he ordered. Okay, boss, Nathan continued. Arya, 24 years old, is the first and unfavored daughter of David Johnson. Her mother died after giving birth to her, and this caused her father not to love her, but that wasn't the cause. Her father was forced to marry her mother because she was already carrying his child. So this is one of the reasons why David doesn't show much love to his first daughter. It didn't take long after Arya's mother's death that David brought his mistress home, who is Grace Johnson. She was already heavily pregnant with Isabella and... Stop. Just get to Arya's part. I don't have time to listen to all these family details, Alexander interjected. Arya has always been maltreated by her stepmother and stepsister. Well, that isn't all. Arya has been dating Ryan Collins for over 3 years. According to people who know them very well, Arya had always had a crush on Ryan ever since their childhood. Ryan used to be her father's chauffeur, so anytime Ryan's father brings him over to the Johnson mansion, they usually play with each other. 3 years ago, they began dating, but recently they broke up because Arya found him in bed with her stepsister Isabella. It happened to be that he was just using her to get close to Isabella, and you wouldn't believe it. His family, who Arya has helped a lot of times, also knew about it and didn't say anything, Nathan explained, feeling sad about the treatment Arya had to face from those bunch of liars and angry at the people who treated her like that. He looked at Alexander, who remained expressionless. Boss, should I continue? Nathan asked. No, Alexander replied after a while. Would you like to see a picture of her that I took? Nathan asked. Let me see it, Alexander said, and Nathan handed him the picture. Alexander's eyes widened, his brows raised in thought. Wasn't this the woman he met at the cafeteria? Could it be the 2 people that were with her that day were Ryan and Isabella? Now everything makes a lot of sense. The conversations, the insults, the betrayal, and he even dared to hit her. To make it worse, they dared refer to him as a male escort. Those 2 are really something. Her stepsister must have no shame for sleeping with her sister's fiancé. Alexander scoffed. What is wrong, boss? You do not like her? Nathan asked, curious. What does he do? Alexander asked. Nathan looked at him in confusion. He? Do you mean her ex-boyfriend? Why are you asking when you already know who I'm referring to? Alexander said, annoyed. You wouldn't believe it, but he happens to be one of the new employees hired by LH Star, Nathan revealed. Alexander narrowed his gaze, then looked at the picture in his hand again. In this picture, Arya was standing at the pedestrian lane, and the expression on her face was that of sadness. Even with that, it didn't hide how beautiful she was. Alexander clutched the picture tightly. What is on your mind, boss? Nathan asked. Something that would infuriate my father, Alexander said, smirking. What do you mean? Nathan inquired. I'm not going to attend my own wedding, Alexander declared. What do you mean by you're not attending your own wedding? Nathan asked, confused. These days, it was really hard to understand what was going on in his boss's head. Alexander decided to ignore Nathan's question. Who is Isabella? Do you have any details on her? Recent ones. Of course, boss. I have all the information you need, Nathan said. Isabella happens to be the one your father chose for you, not Arya. But she refused to marry you based on the rumors about you. You wouldn't believe a lot of awful things she and her mother had said about you. It was actually their idea that Arya should be the one to marry you. David seemed to agree with their suggestion because he doesn't want his daughter to end up with the supposed rumored you. Nathan explained. Alexander raised a brow. Interesting. He suddenly frowned. Where did you get all this information? You don't happen to live with them, do you? Nathan gulped nervously. One of the maids there is a friend of mine, he admitted, then cleared his throat. Alexander sighed. Let's get to the serious part. What have my brothers been up to lately? Julian has been trying his best to secure a private meeting with the CEO of LH Star, but all attempts have failed. He has gained 3 shareholders on his side, seemingly working on strategies to position himself as the chairman. Ethan hasn't engaged in any suspicious activities recently. We already know he has been embezzling money from the company's financial account, so that isn't new. He was also spotted entering a casino in Las Vegas to gamble, Nathan detailed. Alexander nodded thoughtfully. So Julian is eager to meet the brain behind LH Star. Let's see if he succeeds. Any updates on the ongoing project? Alexander inquired. Nathan nodded. Christian successfully signed the contract deal with the China design executives. It went well. Good. Alexander frowned. Since father has sent his people to monitor my movements again, I've not been able to come to the company. Otherwise, I would have been the one to sign the contract. Any other matters that require my attention? Yes, boss. Should we start distributing the new design in the market? There are a few documents for you to sign, Nathan suggested. Start distributing them in 2 days. Do you have the documents with you? Alexander asked. Nathan scratched his head nervously. I'm sorry, boss. Bring the document. The following day, Isabella elegantly maneuvered her car, a vibrant red Porsche Panamera, to the side of the bustling mall owned by Jessica Harrington, the daughter of Gabriel Harrington. The sleek vehicle gleamed under the sunlight as Isabella observed the impressive shopping center. Jessica Harrington is known for being influential, independent, and impartial, a single mother at 26. Isabella smiled, turning off her car engine and looking at the mall. Let's see how you'll get through this marriage when everyone hates you, she thought, then slowly stepped out of her car. Sister-in-law, Eva exclaimed, waving excitedly as Isabella removed her black shades. Isabella frowned briefly at Eva's pathetic wave, but then faked a smile, catwalking toward her. Hi, Eva, Isabella greeted in a sweet voice. Oh my, Isabella, is that your new car? Eva asked, eyes widening at the expensive red Porsche Panamera. Yes, it's mine. I bought it a few days ago, Isabella said proudly. Wow, it's so beautiful. How much did you buy it? I can't believe my sister-in-law is driving one of the latest editions, Eva exclaimed, feeling proud that Isabella was with her brother and not Arya. Oh, Eva, you make it sound as if I and your brother are married. I'm still having second thoughts. Please don't call Arya that. I know sometimes she might be aggressive, but she's a good person. She just has victim syndrome, and I get her. It's because my father shows me more love than he does to her, Isabella explained. Ava gasped. After everything she has done to you, you're still saying a lot of good things about her. Honestly, I admire you, Isabella. You're so good. That's nice of you to say, Ava. Let's proceed into the mall. You can choose whatever you desire, Isabella said, smiling. Eva looked at her in shock, then used her hands to cover her mouth. Really? You mean I can actually choose whatever I desire? Isabella nodded. Yes, you can. Ava smiled and quickly linked her arm with Isabella's. My brother is so lucky to have such a nice woman as you. Isabella nodded, faking a smile. Let's go in. They walked into the mall arm in arm, with Eva smiling from ear to ear as she looked around at her surroundings. The mall was buzzing with people from every department. Wow, I've heard a lot about Jessica Harrington. She is one lucky lady. Not only does she come from a wealthy and respected family, she also has her own money. She is really my role model, Ava said, admiring the beauty of the mall. Isabella nodded. Yes, she is lucky. I really don't like the idea that Arya is going to have such an important woman like Jessica as her sister-in-law. So annoying. Ava snorted. Isabella frowned at the idea. It was true. That was the reason she was here. She was going to take matters into her own hands by making Arya's life a living hell even after she gets married. But she needed to play her cards well. Why would you say that, Ava? There is nothing bad in Arya having Jessica as her sister-in-law. I'm sure that must be one of the reasons Arya agreed to the marriage. But where Arya got it all wrong was that in the process of agreeing to the marriage, she didn't know that would hurt a lot of people. All she cared about was having a better life, and by doing so, she needed to marry into a wealthy family, Isabella explained. Ava raised her nose up in disgust. I really don't understand how you two are so different. While you're honest and kind, she is deceitful and manipulative. After everything my brother did for her, she could still even think of forgetting all their years together and agreed to the marriage, Ava scoffed. Isabella's lips slowly curved into a knowing smile. So, how is your mom doing? Isabella asked Ava as they found themselves amidst a luxurious department store, surrounded by an array of high-end bags elegantly displayed on well-organized shelves. The place felt posh, matching the high standards of the mall and the Harrington family. She is good. She was so happy when she heard that you and Ryan are dating, although she became angry when Ryan told her about Arya's wedding, Eva said. She continued to look at the bags on display with a huge smile on her face. Isabella was watching her closely. I still don't get what is wrong with your sister. What do you mean? Isabella said, faking oblivion. I remember her being crazy about my brother. How come she is getting married to another man in a few days? What a wench. She suddenly stopped, then bit her tongue. How could she have said that about Arya in front of Isabella? It would only make Isabella angry. I totally forgot. I shouldn't have said that about your sister. I'm sorry. I wouldn't say that again. She quickly turned to apologize. Isabella smiled. It's okay. I know you're upset. Eva agreed. Right? I am so upset. It's right to be upset. I just feel sad for Arya, knowing she is going to marry such a man like Alexander, Isabella said, making a sad face. I know, right? Even with all the ugly rumors surrounding Alexander. I kinda pity her though, but she brought this on herself, Ava said. Let's just stop talking about her. It would make me feel sad, Isabella said. Oh my. Look at that Louis Vuitton bag, Isabella. That's the latest model I saw on Jessica's Instagram story, Eva exclaimed, pointing at a bag on display. Isabella mentally rolled her eyes, then faked a smile. Would you like to have it as your own? Ava turned to look at her, confused. Huh? You mean you will purchase it for me? Isabella nodded her head, smiling. Yes, why not? Aren't you Ryan's sister and also my friend? Oh my, Isabella, you're so amazing. Thank you, Eva said excitedly. And suddenly a buzz of excitement echoed through the air as onlookers exclaimed and screamed. Jessica Harrington is here. She looks stunning as always. I can't believe I'm seeing her up close. Eva and Isabella turned slowly to see the source of the commotion. It was Jessica Harrington, stepping into the mall with an air of elegance. She wore a slim-fitted high-waist skirt paired with a white t-shirt and a stylish coat casually draped over her shoulders. Her entrance exuded confidence as she walked through the crowd, accompanied by two imposing bodyguards trailing behind her. Jessica Harrington? Isabella muttered as she watched the woman walk towards them. Their eyes met for a moment, before Jessica walked past them. Jessica! Eva exclaimed, running towards Jessica, but was stopped by the bodyguards. Jessica! I'm one of your biggest fans. Jessica suddenly stopped. You two should stop following me until I give you permission. Jessica ordered the two burly bodyguards. They nodded at the same time and stepped back. Jessica raised an eyebrow, directing her gaze at Eva. Eva couldn't contain her excitement. I'm Eva, and this is Isabella, Aria's sister. Aria is your brother's fiancé, Eva blurted out, carried away by her enthusiasm. Jessica's eyes shifted to Isabella. I've conducted my investigation on the family my brother is marrying into, so I already know who she is, Jessica stated, referring to Isabella. Isabella smiled, recognizing that this was her opportunity. You know me too, right? Eva asked eagerly. Jessica raised a brow. Isabella mentally rolled her eyes at Eva's commoner behavior and offered a sweet smile to Jessica. Her father used to be my father's chauffeur, she explained. Her brother used to date my sister. What? Jessica scoffed. Your sister is really something. Isabella pursed her lips together in a feigned, innocent manner, attempting to talk negatively about Aria. My sister has a way of manipulating situations to her advantage. She's cunning, and I wouldn't be surprised if she has some hidden agenda even in this marriage, Isabella casually mentioned to Jessica. Jessica frowned, fixing her gaze on Isabella. Isabella suddenly noticed the disapproving look Jessica was giving her, and awkwardly smiled. Why are you giving me that look? Jessica folded her arms. Nothing. I just didn't expect you to say that, especially about a fellow woman. Isabella blinked in confusion. What do you mean? Since she is your sister, you aren't supposed to say that about her. Families should stick together, don't you think? Jessica replied, her tone holding a hint of disapproval. Isabella's expression shifted into a mix of surprise and discomfort. Jessica narrowed her gaze at Isabella. But it doesn't sound like you consider her as family. To me, it seems you're the cunning one, not her, Jessica said. Isabella's eyes tightened, her attempt at a confident facade faltering. Eva added, Aria is cunning. She and my brother were dating, but she left him after she heard she was going to get married into a wealthy... Jessica cut in with a chuckle. I think I've heard enough. Ava's face dropped. But I thought you were one of my biggest fans. How come you don't know what kind of person I am? Jessica scoffed. I've had enough of women trying to badmouth their fellow women, Jessica said, turning around to walk away. Isabella gritted her teeth, her knuckles clenched. Why aren't things going her way? Why had she forgotten who Jessica is? Jessica is a woman who believes women should support their fellow women. She hates when other women see their fellow women as unequal. She had this perspective when she got pregnant at a young age, receiving a lot of criticism, especially from her fellow women. The criticism almost led her father to disown her, and the worst part was, she couldn't reveal who the father of her child was. Since then, she vowed to become independent and raise her child herself, believing that no woman should experience what she had. Isabella cussed under her breath in frustration. What did we say wrong? Why does she think we were bad-mouthing Aria? Ava said. Isabella forced a smile. I just wanted things to be good. Ava gave her a pitiful look and turned to look around. She frowned as she caught sight of someone. It was Aria. What was she doing here? Eva's eyes widened. Isabella, what is Aria doing here? Isabella raised her head in confusion. Aria? Look at her over there. Ava pointed at Aria. Isabella frowned. Maybe my mother sent her on an errand. She must be here to get her wedding shoes. Isabella said. Eva snorted. The sight of her annoys me, Eva remarked. Isabella smiled. Why don't you continue to choose what you want to buy? Eva turned with a smile. Oh yes, I almost forgot. For a moment there, I felt bad with what Jessica said to us. I really don't want her to have the wrong idea about us. It's okay, Isabella replied. They continued to walk. What is that wench doing here? Why would Mother send her to this mall? Isabella thought, as she looked at Arya walking into the mall from the corner of her eyes. Isabella was about to say, but something or someone suddenly bumped into her, making her stagger backward. What the hell? Isabella yelled unconsciously, pushing the small body away from her. Her tone made people turn to look at her. Isabella, vibrating with rage, pushed the
Salamat sa FD Lending. Maaari ko na makuha ang gusto ko kahit saan, kahit kailan. Ang FD Lending ay isang lehitimong platform, certified at regulated ng SEC. May loan limit na hanggang 30,000 pesos at pwede mong bayaran ng paunti-unti sa loob ng hanggang 6 na installment. Ang interest ay kasing baba ng 0.2%. Walang service fees na sinisingil sa buong proseso. Click na agad ang link para i-download at masubukan.
Small, adorable boy to the ground. He looked up at her with blue, teary eyes, his cheeks still displaying the remnants of adorable ice cream smudges, and his brown hair tousled from the encounter. As Isabella examined the stain of ice cream on her designer clothes, Eva gasped and rushed to help remove the stain, but Isabella pushed her away. I'm sorry, the boy said, still on the floor. Sorry? Really? Do you know how much this dress cost? Isabella retorted. My mom will pay for it. I'm sorry, the boy apologized. Your mom. Do you think I will fall for such a lie? You might be a beggar for all I care. What should a child be doing in a mall? Isabella questioned. Eva looked at Isabella in confusion, witnessing a side of her she had never seen before. Nevertheless, she agreed that the dress was too expensive to be stained and turned to glare at the boy. You're scaring me, the boy said, trembling. I already told you that I'm sorry and my mom will pay for the dress. Isabella scoffed, realizing that people were watching and she had ruined her innocent facade. She bit her lip, wondering why she had overreacted. Glaring at the boy, she asked, Where is your mother? How am I sure you even have a mother? Just then, Arya, who was passing by, suddenly noticed the commotion. She approached them. Isabella, it was just an accident. He's a child and accidents happen. Let's not make a big deal out of this, Arya said. Isabella realized Arya's intervention and took a moment to compose herself. With a hint of forced sweetness, she said to Arya, Well, it's easy for you to defend him, isn't it? You always did have a soft spot for the less fortunate. He is just a child and you're scaring him because of a mere dress. Arya raised a brow. Isabella frowned. Lately, she had been realizing a few changes about Arya. Now Arya wasn't afraid to talk back to her anymore. What has gotten into this bitch? Isabella thought. Eva scoffed. Why don't you mind your business, Arya? And do you know how much this dress cost? I'm sure you wouldn't, since you haven't owned one before. Regardless of the cost, he's still a child, and no child should be treated this way. And whether I own a dress like this or not, doesn't change the fact that compassion costs nothing. Arya responded calmly. Meanwhile, Jessica, who had just entered the elevator, on her way to her office, received a message from her son's school notifying her that he hadn't arrived yet. Jessica's heart raced with worry as she listened to the school's message. She quickly pressed the elevator button to cancel the ascent, her mind already formulating thoughts about her son's whereabouts. Arya quickly bent down and helped the little boy up. Are you okay? She asked the boy. The boy's eyes instantly lit up. I am okay, he replied. Isabella watched Arya, then rolled her eyes. Why do you make it seem like I did something bad to the boy? Are you trying to make me look like the bad person? No one is trying to make you look like a bad person. You are already a bad person, the boy said. Isabella chuckled. You ruined my dress on purpose, didn't you? The boy frowned. I didn't ruin your dress on purpose. It was an accident. You, Eva tried to say. Mason, a familiar voice cut in. Eva, Isabella, Mason, and Arya turned to look at the direction where the voice was coming from. Jessica quickly rushed towards her son. Mommy! Mason called, crying out loud, and ran to hug his mom's leg. Isabella and Eva exchanged surprised glances. Wait, is the boy really Mason Harrington? Jessica Harrington's son? And they had pushed him to the ground, yelled at him? Isabella smiled nervously. Why are you here? Why aren't you at school? Jessica asked Mason. I don't feel like going to school today. I wanted to spend some time in the mall while licking ice cream, but I accidentally stained this bad woman's dress, and she bullied me, Mason said, turning to point at Isabella. Jessica looked up, and her eyes met Isabella. Jessica gave a wry smile. You again? Isabella suddenly looked apologetic. She hadn't known this was Mason Harrington. If she had, then she wouldn't have done what she did. Mommy, do you know her? Why would you know such a bad person? She pushed me to the ground and insulted me just because of that cheap dress. If not for this kind woman, she would have continued to bully me, Mason continued, referring to Arya as the kind woman. Jessica shot a stern look at Isabella. I can't believe you'd bully a child. What kind of person are you? I'm sincerely sorry, Jessica. I didn't know he was your son, and I never intended to cause any harm. It was a misunderstanding, and I regret my actions. Isabella quickly apologized. Jessica narrowed her eyes at Isabella and responded sternly. So if he wasn't my son, would you have treated him differently? Your actions were unacceptable, regardless of who the child is. No child should be bullied, and your behavior is inexcusable. I didn't know he was your son. I wouldn't have. Isabella stammered. Eva chimed in. Isabella didn't know. It was just an unfortunate misunderstanding. She wouldn't intentionally harm a child. Jessica gave them a look of disgust and said, I will pay whatever amount the dress cost, and you should apologize to my son, not me. Isabella swallowed the lump in her throat. No, it's fine. You don't have to pay for the dress. She smiled sweetly at Mason. I'm sorry, little champ. Don't call me that, Mason snapped. Mom, tell them to leave our mall. They're not allowed to come here again. He told Jessica. You heard my son. The both of you should leave, Jessica said, not sparing Isabella and Eva a glance. Jessica, we are... Eva tried to plead. I said, leave. Jessica cut in sternly. Isabella frowned and turned to look at Arya with contempt. Let's go, Eva whispered to Isabella. Isabella and Eva felt sorry and embarrassed when Jessica scolded them. Mason didn't want them there, and Jessica told them to leave the mall. They left, feeling regretful. Are you okay? I hope you aren't hurt anywhere, Jessica said with concern. Mason smiled at her. I'm not hurt, Mom. This kind lady helped me. Turning to Arya, Jessica said, Thank you for helping Mason. I appreciate your kindness. No need to thank me. Just doing what felt right. Arya simply replied, I would like to repay your kindness. Tell me what you want, Jessica said. Arya frowned slightly. I did what anyone would have done. You don't have to repay me for anything, she responded, turning to walk away. Wait, Jessica, feeling grateful, insisted. I'm sorry if I sounded rude to you. May I know your name? Arya nodded with a smile. I'm Arya, she said. As Arya contemplated whether Jessica knew about her being the fiancé of her brother, she guessed that maybe Jessica wasn't aware yet, considering Jessica's question about her name. Arya couldn't believe such a woman like Jessica would be her sister-in-law. She pondered on how fast the days were going by, and the wedding day was approaching, yet she still knew little about Alexander. Although there were numerous tabloids and scandals about him, Arya found it strange that none of his pictures were on any social media. She questioned the validity of the rumors, realizing it's hard to believe them when there's no photographic evidence. Could Alexander's pictures have been taken down deliberately? She didn't care. All she wanted was to find a way to handle the mess and turn it to her advantage. Shaking off these thoughts, she tried to focus her attention on Jessica. Arya, I know you. You're my brother's fiancé. What a surprise to meet you like this, Jessica said, smiling. Arya's eyes widened, looking surprised that Jessica knew who she was. Well, she hadn't expected that. Mason looked at Arya with a broad smile. So, this kind woman would be his aunt. He couldn't help but feel excited. It's nice to meet you too, Jessica. I didn't realize you knew about me, Arya, still surprised, managed to say. The Arya I'm seeing right now is completely different from what her sister claimed she is, Jessica thought. Jessica couldn't help but believe that there are still women who try to ruin the image of their fellow women, especially a sister talking ill about her own sister. She scoffed inwardly, wondering what word to use for Isabella. It's clear that Arya could be Isabella's sister, but Isabella doesn't treat Arya like family, not considering her at the same level. Jessica suspected jealousy in Isabella's words, realizing that Isabella might be the cunning one. Jessica felt glad that Arya is the one chosen for her brother, not Isabella. I'm curious to get to know you better, Jessica replied. I'm Mason, your future nephew. Mason chimed in with an innocent enthusiasm. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mason. I'm looking forward to being your aunt. Arya replied with a warm smile. I would like to get another ice cream, Mummy. Can Aunt Arya come with us? Mason asked, looking up at his mum. Such an adorable kid, Arya thought. Jessica smiled at him, then looked at Arya. Would you like to come with us? Arya smiled sadly. I'm sorry, Mason, but I can't come with you and your mum to get the ice cream because I have an errand to attend to, she said to Mason. Mason pouted. Did you come to the mall to purchase anything? Jessica asked. I'm here to get my wedding shoes, Arya replied. Oh, that's good, Jessica replied. Arya contemplated whether to ask Jessica a question. Is your brother a nice person? She asked. Jessica gave her a smile. Yes, Alexander is one of the nicest people I have ever met. He can be rude and grumpy at times, but he's very nice and respectful. You will like him when you see him. Arya didn't know why, but she felt assured and calm with what Jessica had said about the man she was supposed to get married to. Would you like to ask me more about him? Because of all my brothers, I feel closer to him, Jessica asked, noticing the expression on Arya's face. What do you think about this marriage? Are you getting married of your own free will? I mean, you haven't met the man you're getting married to yet, so... Jessica said. Arya thought Jessica was right. She had had these thoughts before. What does she really think about this marriage? Should she still go on with it after everything that had happened with Ryan? How would she get her revenge if she were to get married? But another part of her is telling her to go on with the marriage, that something good will come out of it. She shouldn't believe the rumors about Alexander, right? Arya hesitated before responding. I appreciate your concern, Jessica. It's true we haven't met yet, and it's an arranged marriage. I have my doubts and fears, but there's a part of me that believes in the possibility of finding something good in this union. I'll go into it with an open mind and hope for the best. Isabella walked out of the mall, angry. She stopped and looked at the mall, then stamped her foot on the ground. Eva nervously approached Isabella and said, Isabella, I understand you're upset, but it's not your fault. You had no idea that was Jessica's son. Isabella turned to Eva and gave her a scornful look. How come you are Jessica's fan and you didn't know that was her son? She said. Eva scratched her head with her hand. I'm Jessica's fan, but I didn't know that was her son because she had never posted his picture before. No one knows what her son looks like except for close relatives. I'm sorry, Eva explained. How typical of a fan like you, unaware of even basic details, Isabella scoffed. Eva's face dropped. Y'all just had to ruin my day, Isabella said through gritted teeth and walked towards her car. Just you wait and see, Arya. I'm not yet done with you, Isabella said to herself. You'll regret ever making me look like I'm a bad person. Several hours later. The silence of Arya's room was abruptly shattered by the disturbing sound of her phone, jolting her from her sleep. Frowning, she reached for it on the side table, her forehead creasing upon seeing Isabella as the sender. Arya raised a brow, questioning why Isabella was messaging her at this hour. Opening the message, she scoffed at its contents. For the past 3 years, you've been living in a lie. He never loved you. He always loved me. Now that you know the truth, it would be best if you committed suicide. The shocking message hit Arya like a wave, making anger surge within her. Isabella's cruel words attempted to push Arya to a dark place, contemplating an unthinkable act. Suicide? I should commit suicide, really? Arya mused, her disbelief turning into a mix of shock and anger. Who did she think she was talking to? Did she believe I was still the naive Arya? Arya thought. Rolling her eyes at the pictures of Ryan and Isabella, Arya contemplated the disturbing images. One showed them kissing, the second revealed Ryan carrying Isabella in a bridal style, and the third. Deciding not to delve further into the hurtful pictures Isabella sent, Arya turned off her phone. Isabella's motives were crystal clear. She aimed to provoke and upset Arya. As Arya lay back on her bed, surprisingly, her thoughts shifted from Isabella's cruel message to the impending day. Tomorrow. The day she was to marry a man she hadn't yet met. The following day. Arya, just about to drift into a deep sleep after contemplating her wedding day throughout the night, would be abruptly awakened by a loud bang. She groaned, wondering who was knocking on her door at this ungodly hour. Slowly sitting up from the bed, she reached for her phone, turned it on, and saw that it was already 7:30 a.m., indicating she had only 2 hours of sleep. Another knock came, making her frown. She stood up and walked towards the door. "Who is that?" she asked. "Open the damn door," Isabella's voice demanded from behind the door. What does she want? Arya wondered, then reluctantly opened the door. Isabella stood at her doorstep, arms crossed and a smirk on her face. "What do you want?" "Why were you banging on my door so early in the morning?" Arya asked. "Why are you so rude this early? Wouldn't you invite me into your room?" Isabella raised a brow, then brushed past Arya into her room. She slowly walked in. Isabella wrinkled her nose as she surveyed Arya's small room. "This place could use a bit of tidying up, Arya. Looks like you're low on clothes, too. Ever considered begging me for clothes?" She seemed to be suggesting changes in Arya's room, but it was not hard to recognize she was insulting Arya. "And in case you've forgotten, I own everything here, and I can bang on your door anytime I feel like," Isabella added. "And in case you have forgotten, I wouldn't be here anytime soon," Arya replied. Isabella looked at her, eyeing her, then scoffed. "Did you get my message and the picture I sent you last night?" she asked. Arya's gaze narrowed at her. "Yes, I did. What do you think about it? Did we look good?" Isabella gave Arya a sly smile. Arya sighed. "The both of you deserve each other," she answered. Isabella looked at her for a moment, then began to chuckle evilly. "I know you don't mean what you said. I know you said that out of anger because Ryan loved me and not you, and you are still hurt from the betrayal." Isabella slowly walked towards her and spat out. Arya clenched her knuckles. "What do you get from saying all of this?" Arya said. "Haven't you realized what I got?" Isabella laughed. "Do you think I actually have feelings for that chauffeur's son? He could be rich now, but that doesn't change the fact he remains a chauffeur's son, a servant's son. I've always known that Ryan loved me, and I reveled in every moment you were a fool thinking he loved you. Meanwhile, he was secretly in love with me. Ryan has always had a crush on me. He'd do anything I wanted of him, but back then, I didn't think he deserved me. I mean, he is my father's chauffeur." She stopped to chuckle for a moment while Arya looked at her with nothing but shock and hatred. "Ryan never liked you. He was with you for 2 reasons. One was because you're David Johnson's daughter, even if you were the unfavored one. It doesn't matter as long as he becomes David Johnson's son-in-law and gets a good job in Johnson Financial Group. The second one, which you already know, was to get close to me. He planned on cheating on you with me even if you two were to get married," Isabella said. Arya could feel the broken pieces of her heart molding into something strong. Rather than hurt, she felt the hunger for revenge. Arya blinked back the angry tears threatening to fall down her eyes. Why are you telling me this now? Isabella rolled her eyes. Do not rush me. I will get to that part after I finish reveling in this moment of telling you how you will always be nothing but a fool. She smiled, looking at her manicured nails as she continued. Why don't you just imagine if you hadn't walked in on us that day in the room? What would have happened? You would have remained in the dark. I never really wanted Ryan, but he kept coming to me till I wanted him. I wanted him, and I got him. I get anything I want, Arya. Anything. Arya looked at Isabella expressionlessly, then gave a dry chuckle. And why are you telling me this? Isabella frowned. Why wasn't Arya shedding tears or breaking down after she had said all of this? I'm telling you this now because of how hopeless you feel. Today you're tying the knot with a man everyone considers ugly. I suppose you two are well suited, both being the least favored children of your parents, Isabella said, smiling. How can you consider someone you have never met ugly based on rumors that might not even be true? Arya scoffed in her thoughts. I've heard enough. Get out of my room, Arya asserted, maintaining her composure. Isabella's expression shifted from a smug smile to a narrowed gaze, and she retorted, You might be getting married today, but you'll forever be a naive fool, Arya. She took one last awful glance at Arya and left the room feeling satisfied. Arya watched her leave with an expressionless face and coldly said, Ryan, you've done more harm to me than good. You betrayed me. So you planned all that against me after all I've done for you. You two really deserve each other. I'll make sure I see to the day you two would end up turning your back against one another. A few moments later, at the wedding venue. The much-anticipated day of the wedding had arrived, and guests were streaming into the venue. All members of the Johnson family had arrived at the venue where the wedding was taking place, except for Arya. On top of that, the richest people in Seattle showed up to the wedding. Outside, the press and paparazzi eagerly gathered, anticipating the arrival of the Harrington family. I heard the couple hasn't even met yet. Poor girl, must be tough going into a marriage like this, especially with the rumors about her husband-to-be. There is really nothing for you to pity about her. What do you mean? Well, I heard she's cunning, left her previous fiancé just to marry into wealth. Oh, that's awful! How did you know that, though? I got information from an anonymous source that she agreed to the marriage immediately. She heard she was getting married into a rich family. She even broke up with her fiancé. Poor man. He doesn't deserve such a cunning woman. Grace, overjoyed by the whispers of the crowd, maintained a happy demeanor as she walked toward a group of socialite women. May I have your attention, please? She began. First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to all of you for attending my daughter's wedding. Grace paused, subtly weaving words to indirectly tarnish Arya's reputation. It's truly a joyous occasion, and we're delighted to have such distinguished guests among us. As Grace spoke, the sound of engines revving interrupted the ceremony. A stretch white limousine, followed by black SUVs, arrived at the venue driveway. Look at those license plates. It's the Harrington family car. The press and paparazzi eagerly rushed toward the limousine. It's Ms. Yolanda. Yes, the cars belong to Yolanda Harrington, the mother of Gabriel Harrington and the founder of Harrington Enterprise. She was the third daughter of Marcus Brown, the founder of Nightstar Construction Company. Her mother bore 4 girls for her father, which made her father angry and disappointed, so he abandoned his family and got a second wife, who after a year bore him a son. Marcus had always wanted a male child who would bear his name because he believed that girls were meant to be in their husband's house, nurturing the children and taking care of the family, but Yolanda proved him wrong. Out of all the children Marcus had, she was the most successful. The driver's door opened, and the chauffeur came out to open the door, and Yolanda stepped out of the limousine. Dressed in a stunning white suit, holding a gold walking stick, and sporting elegant eyeglasses. Wow, it's really Ms. Yolanda. She is a legend. At 69 years old, she still looks so strong, someone in the crowd marveled. She greeted the press with a warm smile. The press swarmed, capturing every moment as Gabriel and his wife, Scarlett, followed suit. Wow, it's Mr. Harrington and Mrs. Harrington. The SUV doors opened one by one, revealing Ethan, his wife Gloria, and their children Chloe and Cole, followed by Julian. Julian stepped out of his car, dressed in a blue tuxedo matching the color of his eyes, and a black coat draped on his shoulders. Most of the females among the crowd gasped and screamed at the sight of Julian. Oh my God, it's Julian. He never ceases to amaze me with his good looks. I heard he is still single, which means I might have a chance with him. Julian gave a smile to the camera before walking towards his family. As always, my son never ceases to amaze the crowd. You're always a star anywhere you go, Scarlett declared proudly. Julian smiled as replied, Thank you, Mother. You are just like me when I was your age, Gabriel said proudly. Grandma Yolanda chimed in, teasing her son. Well, Gabriel, you were never this handsome, were you? The atmosphere lightened with chuckles at Grandma Yolanda's words, and Gabriel couldn't help but frown. That's not true, Mother. I was quite the handsome young man in my time, Gabriel asserted. Oh, in your time? Does that mean you've lost your good looks now? Grandma Yolanda smirked, teasingly. Grandma, please spare Father from your teasing, Ethan intervened. Julian, sensing the moment, tactfully redirected the conversation. I believe it's time for us to head inside. You're absolutely right, Gabriel concurred. Ethan discreetly hid his disappointment as his comment was brushed aside. As the Harrington family proceeded into the wedding hall, the press attempted to pose questions, only to be stopped by the Harrington family's vigilant bodyguards. David Johnson, playing the gracious host, greeted one of the businessmen when the grand entrance of the Harrington family stole the spotlight. Gabriel Harrington, accompanied by his wife, Scarlett, and children Julian and Ethan with his wife, Gloria, made a striking entrance. They exuded wealth and sophistication, capturing the attention of everyone present. David, with a beaming smile, approached them. Welcome, Grandma Yolanda, Gabriel, Scarlett, Julian, Ethan, and Gloria. We're truly honored to have you here. Your presence adds immense grace to this special occasion. He greeted Grandma Yolanda and the entire Harrington family warmly. Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to be here, Grandma Yolanda said. Indeed, it's a momentous day as our children unite in marriage. Such unions strengthen the bonds between our families and create a legacy of unity and prosperity, David said enthusiastically. Unity is important, David. I hope this union brings joy and prosperity to both our families, Grandma Yolanda replied. Absolutely, Grandma Yolanda. Let us celebrate this joyous occasion together, David said with a smile. Well, David, it's an interesting alliance, isn't it? Our families are coming together, even if the circumstances are a bit unconventional, Gabriel said with a snobbish attitude. Maintaining his composure, David politely replied, Indeed, Mr. Harrington. Sometimes destiny takes unexpected turns, leading to unique connections. Gabriel raised a brow. Unique, indeed. I hope you realize the stature of the Harringtons. This union might be a significant leap for your family. We're well aware of the Harrington legacy, Mr. Harrington. We believe in the potential for collaboration and growth between our families. David grinned, attempting to play along. He'd do anything to gain their favor, even if it means they insult him. Collaboration, perhaps. But remember, there are levels, David. Harrington Enterprises operates on a different plane, Gabriel said, dismissively. Of course, Mr. Harrington. We appreciate the distinction. Nevertheless, we look forward to a prosperous partnership. David replied. Enough about business, gentlemen. Today is about love and family. Let's enjoy the festivities, Grandma Yolanda said, smiling. I can't wait to see the face of the bride. I'm sure she must be very beautiful and must be worthy of my grandson. You're very right, David replied. Yes, Arya is very beautiful. Why don't you show us to our seats, David? Scarlett said. She knew her husband didn't see David as anybody, and he was right. The Johnson family was nothing compared to the Harrington family. Of course, Scarlett. Right this way, David replied, and personally escorted them to their reserved special seats. Meanwhile, Isabella, standing beside her mother, couldn't help but keep looking at them when they came in, especially Julian, the man of her dreams. So good-looking, smart, and wealthy. You're making it so obvious that you like him. Louisa, a friend of Isabella, walked up to her saying, I really don't care if it's too obvious, Louisa. This man is just goddamn good. I'm going to make sure I get him, Isabella said with determination, eyes still on Julian. You can get anything you want, my beautiful daughter. I'm sure your father would pull strings for you to get married to Julian after Arya gets married to Alexander, Grace said. It seems I will also benefit from Arya's wedding. We will now become a family with the Harringtons. Isabella smiled. What about Ryan? Louisa asked. Isabella scoffed. He is like a second choice. He's now rich, so if I'm with him it could help Father's business and make Father even prouder of me. Father wouldn't care if Ryan is with me or Arya. Oh, my bad. The bitch is getting married to that ugly dude today, so she has no chance with Ryan. He is all mine. You're so smart, Louisa smiled. Good day, Mrs. Johnson. Louisa greeted Grace. Grace smiled. Oh, Louisa, I didn't expect you to show up to this wench's wedding since you didn't also like her. Is your mother here? Louisa rolled her eyes. I feel sad that you think I will actually think of attending Arya's wedding for other reasons except there would be important people here, and I would like to make friends, Louisa said. My mother is over there in a deep conversation with Mrs. Williams. Your man is here, Grace said to her daughter as Ryan walked in dressed in a black suit with Rebecca and Eva by his side. Who do you think is more handsome? Ryan or Julian? Isabella said, with a sly smile. Are you asking me that question? It's hard, Louisa raised a brow. Just answer, Isabella groaned. They're both handsome. But Ryan is more handsome. The dude got rich overnight. I find him attractive, Louisa would say. Isabella glared at her. That's my man, and he's head over heels in love with me, she said, then started walking towards Ryan. My love, she said as she approached him. Babe, Ryan called, wrapping his arms around her. I came here because of you. How are you today? Isabella gave him an innocent smile. I'm glad you came, she said, then made a sad face. I can't believe my sister is actually going through with this wedding. It's still so hard to believe she immediately forgot all the years you two had spent with each other and quickly agreed to the marriage, she said with a hoarse voice. Ryan's face remained expressionless, but deep down, hearing all of what Arya had done from Isabella, he felt disgusted with Arya and angry that she was getting married. Rebecca scoffed at the mention of what Arya had done. That cunning wench. Isabella suddenly pretended to be surprised and sad. Mother, I think you misunderstood my sister. She is actually a nice person. She just gets too ambitious at times, Isabella said. Rebecca looked at Isabella lovingly. Did you just call me mother? She asked excitedly. Yes, I thought it would be right to call you that since Ryan and I love each other and are in a serious relationship, Isabella said gently. Rebecca looked at her son, then back at Isabella, then gasped. You're really the right lady for my son. So innocent, gentle, and honest, she said. Isabella smiled. Thank you, Mother, and Ryan is also a man any woman would wish to be with, she said, then tilted her head to look at Ava. Hi, Eva. Ava, who had been listening to the conversation, still feeling guilty about what had happened yesterday, looked at Isabella with surprise. Yes, she answered. I am no longer angry with you, Isabella said. Ryan frowned. What did Ava do to you? Isabella's face dropped. She didn't do anything. It was just a little misunderstanding, she said. Ryan turned to glare at Ava. Little misunderstanding or not, don't make my woman angry, he warned Ava. Ava frowned but later nodded her head. I'm glad you're no longer angry with me. It's okay, Isabella said with a nice fake smile. Let me show you to your seats. Wait, my love, Ryan said to Isabella. I would like to have a word with your father. You're sure he knows about us already, right? He asked her.